Hello, I am Chris Turner, the freestyle rapper, and if you are in the hospitality industry and your website is not generating bookings, you need to check out boostly.co.uk, and this is a freestyle completely made up, improvised, on the spot about why. Let's drop that beat. Let's do this. I never lie, I tell the truth, me. You gotta go and take a look at boostly.co.uk. Wanna get the guests to stay, but they're looking at your website and just move away. Well, this way, you get more heads on beds because they're gonna get on the website and guess like, yeah, I should put direct cause it looks so nice and I can inspect. Web design is the answer, that is what you need. Beat booking Airbnb, succeed, and let me tell you what, to you from me, you know the Boostly got the money back guarantee, yeah. You really need you when it comes to web design, they're the market leader. And best of all, you can do it now, give them a call on the website, wow, yeah. Hello, I am Chris Turner, the freestyle rapper, and if
These tech gremlins are here, but we are good. All right, we're back. We're good. Audio is back. We are all good. Who said doing live videos was easy, eh? 3 days, absolutely fine. Day 4, just wanted to throw some curveballs. Fingers crossed, everything goes well. But we're in. Right, here's what I need for you to do. If you are with me, please give me a hashtag live. If you are with me, please, can you tag in anybody that you know who needs to be here that isn't? Can you please spread it? Actually, here's what I need for you to do, because I never, ever, ever have these apps open on my phone. Don't really like having apps on my phone, but when I do these weeks, I download them so I can see what's going on, etc. Right? And I was looking on them today, and I was looking on stories, looking on all of your stories, and I couldn't see anybody talking about the Book Direct Virtual Summit. So let's change this, shall we? We've got close to just under 100 people watching this. Can you all please just take a picture of the screen? If you're watching on your phone, just take a screenshot. And can you go and upload it onto your Instagram stories, your Facebook stories, your posts, or wherever, and tag in at Boostly UK or tag in at Mark Simpson over the course of the next 24 hours. If you do, I've got a special little prize to give to one of you, which would be cool. So tell everybody about the summit. Tell everybody what you're doing. Paul Anderson has been phenomenal at this. If you're following the social media hotelier on Instagram, go and see examples. He's very good at this. But yeah, please go ahead and spread the word. Just say everybody about the main takeaways and let everybody know that if they want to tune in, then tomorrow's the final day. Obviously, in this group, everything is recorded. That's absolutely a given. We should know that by now on day 3 if I share my screen. This is us now. And then we've got all of the other videos that are in here. So if you want to come back and look at all these, you can do. As of tomorrow, all of these videos are going to move over to the YouTube channel. So the YouTube channel, the Boostly YouTube channel, all of these videos are going to move over there. So please make sure that you're following the Boostly YouTube channel, and you'll be able to come and find them all easily in there. But without further ado, let's crack on with this evening, shall we? So let's see who we have with us. Who is with us in the chat? Where's my phone? I'll be able to see a bit clearer who's with us. And I hope you've all had a great day. Now, this has just made it underneath my door, and I don't know what's happening, but it says, look outside. I think Wendy has very kindly sent me over something, which I will check out in a second once we line up our first video. So in the chat, we've got Jillian, Sabrina, Linda, you got Zhao, we've got loads of people that are with us, which is fantastic. Okay, you're all planning, which is good. I'm going to send an email out once we get going. First and foremost, we have a winner of the Spin the Wheel competition that we did yesterday. Mr. Raf Damians, I want to say. Raf Damians. Big round of applause to him. A wine delivery. The plot thickens. I'll go check that in a second. But Mr. Raf Damians, you won the one-on-one session with Mr. Paul Anderson. So that is going to be phenomenal. And also as well, we've got another Spin the Wheel prize tonight. Now, before we crack on with that, you've got 24 more hours to win something else. So this week is all about education, but it's also about winning stuff as well. So we've got the 5K giveaway happening over here. You can go to it by doing boostly.co.uk/win, boostly.co.uk/win. There is 1 day, 8 hours to go. You can stand the chance of winning 2 VIP tickets to the Short Stay Summit in London, a VIP spot at the Touch Day workshop in Boise or Barcelona, a marketing strategy Zoom session with Maddie from Mount about how to get in front of Gen Zs, 3-month subscription to Folio, partnership with a professional revenue management company, waiving their setup fees, a personal Zoom session with Mr. Dave Goodfellow, including access to his latest course, one-on-one Zoom session all about direct bookings, revenue and pricing audit Zoom call with Mr. Jasper Rivers, and 1 year's membership to B&B Tribe. There's going to be 9 different winners here. You have to be in it to win it, and you've got 24 hours pretty much to do that. So go ahead over to boostly.co.uk. Let me pop it in here. boostly.co.uk/win. Go over there and go ahead and do that, and you can get a chance to to enter into that. So that's the link there. All right, tell me, everybody, we're on to day 4, sorry. What has been your main takeaways so far? I mean, there's been so many good sessions, and we've got some fantastic ones to come today. And let me tell you what's coming up tomorrow as well. It's unbelievable. But what's been your main takeaways so far? But most importantly, what have you done to implement it? Now, we've had so many cool sessions, and you know, there's been a very consistent theme happening here. But have you been able to implement anything, and what have you done? Have you had any wins? Have you had any cool things happen on the back of this week? If so, please do let me know in that chat. All right, now let's go ahead and do this, shall we? Let's do another spin the wheel. So if you can all please put down your lucky numbers between 1 and 10. So again, as we do every night, we do a game of spin the wheel. Now, if you manage to choose that lucky number, it doesn't mean that you're an automatic winner. What it means you get to do is send me a message on Facebook. And when you send me that message on Facebook, you can say, hey, I was lucky number, whatever, and then we'll put your name into a lucky hat and you will win a prize. Now, today's prize is really cool. So today you will get a copy of the Hospitable Host book number 3. So you will get a copy of that sent to you. And if you aren't aware of the Hospitable Host project, I am part of it, as well as so many other people that are part of it. Anybody that you see with a cool little round circle around their profile picture, that is basically a hospitable host. Let me see if there's somebody in the chat right now. If you're a hospitable host, do me a favor. Just put hashtag hospitable hosts and I'll share your picture up. So there's about 120 authors and they've all shared stories. And the cool thing is about this book project is that it means that so many people can become published authors, which is really cool to see. It's become what started off as a just an idea, but from Jodie Odlin, about 3 years ago now, has turned into this mammoth of a thing, of a movement. And it's turning up to meetups and all these cool things that are going on. And there's going to be a UK book launch over in London coming up next month, which is going to be cool. You get to win a copy of Hospitable Host free and see all these cool stories. Right. So this is your chance, and you haven't got long now because I've only got 1 minute, but give me your lucky numbers between 1 and 10. We're going to spin this and we're going to start this. Let's see what people have been doing. So somebody has sorted their bio, thanks to Mr. Paul Anderson. Use ChatGPT to update my cottage description. Love it. What else did somebody put? Think about the guest perspective. I have updated our wording in our documents and give a quick IG face lift. I think that's what it all says, which is cool. Oh, I know what this means now. So in the WhatsApp chat, Wendy, who is the fantastic owner of Acorn Glade Lodge, which is very close to where I live. In fact, it's just over the field. And she put, can I bring wine? Can I have wine while I'm watching tonight's session? And I said, yeah, 100%, as long as you bring me a bottle. Lol, laugh out loud. Didn't thinking that she would jump in the car and bring round a bottle of wine. So I guess that is what's waiting for me. But that is a lovely postcard. And again, a fantastic thing about branding your business, something to take home, your guests to take home. This is a great example with QR code. So Wendy, thank you very much. As soon as we get started with Laura's session, I may go and have a little drink, or I might just wait until we end today and have a little drink afterwards. All right. This tech has thrown me, so let's get this going. We're all here, but we're here. This is the main thing. We've got over 80 people watching live with us, which is cool. You've got 10 more seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get the Jeopardy music going and let's spin this wheel. I do not believe it. It is number 2 again. Number 2. Do we have anybody? Do we have anybody who has got number 2? If you've got number 2, remember, it doesn't mean that you are automatically a winner. It means that you get to send me a message on Facebook right now and say, hey, Mark, I put down lucky number 2. So if you are that person, then, well, congratulations. Go and send me a message and you may be that lucky winner. Let me just go back into the group. So if we come to here, and if we come to here, where's these hospitable hosts? Where are you? So I'm looking for anybody in the comments that's a hospitable host. We've got them in the chat. But anyway, righty-ho. Spin again. No. Jody has number 2. So Jody, obviously you can't send yourself a book. Let somebody else have a go. But with that being said, we have got a very cool lineup coming up tonight. Let me just jump into it. Share the screen here. So this is what's coming up tonight. We have got Laura Muse, the social propertypreneur, with an unbelievable session. She pre-recorded this, and bearing in mind that she was ill when doing this, but she still went on and did it. And I messaged her last minute. I was like, listen, I would love for you to be part of this, but I need a video by tomorrow. And she was like, listen, I am so poorly, but I'll do my best. And she got it done, which is what I love about Laura. And that's what I love about people who are part of Boostly. You know, you just get it done. That's what I love about hospitality. You just get it done. And she did. And it's a fantastic session. I'm excited to showcase her and her skills to more of you. And there's some really cool links that she's going to give you and a QR code to get ready for this. Then we're going to jump straight into Jamie Lane. Jamie Lane is the AirDNA chief economist, and he has all the data. So, you know, we talked about this before, is that it's so easy when you're stuck inside the bottle to make decisions for you and your business based on what you think is right. But when you chat to Jamie, it's like, wow, like the data that he has available is unreal. And he's going to come and share it, especially things to look out to for Q2. And then we're going to reach out to 2 people that I guarantee 99.9% of you will never have heard of, the Extent team, and then a special session from Ruby Abrahani of Mavericks. 2 people that I've got to know, a group of people that I've got to know a lot better over the course of the last year. Rudy and I met in Barcelona at Scale Rentals event, and we've kept in touch. He's going to show you something with AI and diet booking website, and we are trying to figure out a way how we can work together with Boostly and Mavericks, because what they can do is unreal. I've had the privilege of a few demos. And then we're going to finish with, and it's not on this image, a very special secret slot, a very special secret session we're going to finish with. Now, who do you think it is? Who do you think it is? It is somebody that is an absolute rock star. It is somebody that I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the last couple of years, being able to see him behind the scenes of his YouTube channel, and his amazing ways. He's got such an army of followers online with his YouTube channel. He is a very successful host, but he is you know, he's come into this from multiple different industries. He's a multiple business owner, and like I say, getting to know him behind the scenes has been fantastic. I reached out to him and just said, hey, I know you're busy, but could you do me a massive favor and do a video, the same talk that I saw you doing in Nashville a few weeks ago? Can you do that one and pop it in for us for the Book Diet Summit? He's like, yeah, no problem. So again, really excited for that, and that's going to come up later on. But without further ado, let's get started, shall we? If you are excited, just give me a hashtag hell yeah. Just give me a hashtag hell yeah if you're excited. Thank you very much for bearing me with the tech. Thank you very much for coming back on a Thursday, 4 days in. We've got today's session, tomorrow's session, then we're all done, and then we can have a sleep. As you can tell, these tired eyes. It's a day. It's a day. Right. Let's go ahead and do this, shall we? Can you please all give a massive welcome to the Book Diet Virtual Summit, and can we all give a massive round of applause to the phenomenal, to the fantastic Laura Muse.
Okie dokie. So my name is Laura Muse, and this evening I'm going to be sharing you how you can supercharge your marketing through various different streams to create more profit for your hospitality business. So for the people who don't know me, I am Laura Muse. I am based in the UK. I am a property investor. I have been for quite a few years now. Predominantly our property portfolio is in Sheffield in the UK. We started investing in property in 2012, and we now have holiday lets from 2022 in the beautiful Peak District, which is in Derbyshire, which just sits below the Lake District, if people don't know where that is. But we've got a range of properties in our portfolio, from single buy-to-lets to new build projects that we've done. We've done a mixed new build, so commercial and residential above. We've done 3 detached new builds, and we've got blocks of apartments, HMOs. There's nothing we kind of haven't done, to be honest. And then in 2022, we took to the holiday let world, and it's been a whirlwind adventure ever since. We also have done a couple of other things in property. So we have a lettings and management business. We have Supercharged Marketing, which is about helping people with their property and hospitality businesses. We also are an award-winning hospitality business in the Peak District. I am a published author. Luckily, I'm involved in Hospitable Host 3. And my main specialism is raising private finance via social media. So for the majority of our projects that you can see there on that timeline, we use other people's money to fund them projects. And we've also got a renewable energy business. So that's me in a nutshell. My background is not property, and it's definitely not hospitality, but I used to be an equine nutritionist. If anyone doesn't know what that is, I used to go around the UK telling people what they shouldn't and should feed their horses. And since 2018, we went into property full time, and the rest is history, so to speak. So these are our beautiful holiday homes. So we are high-end luxury holiday homes in the Peak District. And we have 2 properties, but we've got 9 units in total. So the one with the delightful brass bath is Foxlow Grange. So that is a mansion that we have lovingly restored, a completely back to brick project, which now houses 5 2-bedroomed apartments, 1 3-bedroomed apartment, and 2 1-bedroom apartments in Buxton in Derbyshire. And then we have Candle House, which is a 4-bedroom, 2-bathroom, former candle factory that we put a little bit of love back into as well in 2022. So since then, we've got multiple awards, which I am honoured to be a part of. All of our units are graded 5-star self-catering by Visit Peak District, by Visit England, and they are accompanied by the Gold Award for every single unit that we have. Now, a lot of people tend to have good and bad things to say about this kind of award, but for me, for my guest avatar, it's actually quite an important thing. Which I'll come into a little bit later. We also, at the Visit Peak District and Derbyshire Awards last month, we got Team Bronze, so Team of the Year, we got third place. There was quite a lot of people who entered that as well. And we also got New Tourism Business of the Year, which I'm absolutely stoked about. So yeah, to say that we've only been in business quite a short period of time, we're obviously making quite an impact in the area. So that's what the presentation is really about. We are shortlisted for boutique stays with Muddy Stilettos, and we recently have acquired our Peak District Environmental Quality Mark, and conveniently I have the certificate here, and it's all been about being more environmentally friendly, more sustainable, and especially at the luxury end of the market. As you can see there in the pictures, like we do a lot of our own products ourselves. So like shampoo, conditioner, etc. We use a local business, we use refillable, we use glass bottles, and it's things like that that really do make this difference. So let's get into it. This is about being more than a head in a bed. This is about multiple streams of income. This is about the different strands to put into your bow of making your business really profitable. Airbnb. So we all have a love-hate relationship with Airbnb and Booking.com, but we need to reclaim our businesses. There are so many people that I have spoken to over the last 2 years, especially at the networking events in the Peak District, that actually do class themselves as an Airbnb business. And one thing I do have to say to that now, this might not resonate with people that are not in the UK, but if you were to sell your car in the UK and you listed it on Auto Trader, you wouldn't then call that car an Auto Trader car. It would be still a Volkswagen Passat that you've listed on Auto Trader. And that's exactly what Airbnb and Booking.com are. The marketing platforms, the platforms that we need to utilise or we choose to utilise to advertise our properties. We're not governed. We are not an Airbnb business or Booking.com. We just choose to advertise on them outlets. Booking.com and Airbnb over the last 12 months have been rough on quite a lot of hosts. It's massively affected people's businesses. I mean, if COVID weren't bad enough, I mean, fortunately I was not in the industry then, but Airbnb shut down, cancelled everybody's bookings and gave a refund. But if you are in the Boostly community, a couple of months ago, an amazing couple put in there that they recently had, I think it was about 90 listings basically taken off Airbnb, and that was massive. Like, that was thousands and thousands of pounds of bookings that had gone. Do you want to be in that situation? My answer probably would be not. Absolutely not. And this is why it's so important that we stop building our house on somebody else's ground. If you were subject to Booking.com last year, they decided that they were having technical issues through the summer, which meant that we didn't get paid out if you use their payment system. I don't use their payment system anymore. We collect our own payments. Obviously comes with that some other issues, but there was thousands and thousands of hosts who didn't get paid, who had to close, who couldn't pay their mortgage. And they're just giving us more and more reasons of why we need to build strong businesses and brands that don't rely on these OTAs. The OTAs are there, but let's use them for what they are, a marketing platform, and let's not use them for them to build our businesses and then can take it away in a snapshot, because that's not a business. This figure, I'm sure you would agree, for any small business is a massive amount of money, nearly £75,000. This is what I paid out in 1 year on Booking.com for Foxlow Grange, which is the one with 8 apartments, which I'm sure you can probably agree with me that this is a life-changing amount of money for a small business. This type of money is the difference between keeping the doors open and closing the doors. So if the two things I just said about Airbnb and Booking.com are not a powerful reason to reclaim your businesses, then I really hope that this figure is. We really need to stop building our house on somebody else's ground. We need to reclaim our businesses and building our brands, because these people don't care about us. They don't. But I care about people in my community, and I really care about my business and my family. So we need to reclaim them and stop building our house on someone else's ground, because that is not ever going to end well. So from that, I've come up with the 4-step system that I implement in my business every single day. And we're getting some great results from it, like really great results. It's called the Muse system, which is my surname, so at least you remember me. And I'm going to take you through the 4 key elements of this today. And I really hope that you take some inspiration away from this, because we need to be creating multiple streams of income for our businesses. I'm in the hospitality industry in the Peak District, and it's seasonal. A lot of people who I speak to have a seasonal business. So what can we do when it is quiet and the bookings do drop off a cliff to ensure that we can still pay our bills and make our businesses as profitable as we can during the high peak season? First of all, we're going to be going into the M, which is all about marketing you and your brand. How we speak about our businesses really needs to change. There's a lot of people I speak to who do say they have an Airbnb business, and it's completely the wrong way that this should communicate it, because all this is doing is communicating to our guests they should book on Airbnb. Let's go book on Airbnb, like reaffirming this. And we need to no, we advertise on Airbnb, but actually if you go on my website, museescapes.com, we're a small family-run business, and we really value people booking direct with us. There's more money in it for us, and that you save more money too. And we like to build, know, like, and trust with our guests. So gone are the days of logos. You are your business. Your face is your business. And to generate that trust and credibility, it's you. It's you going around your properties. It's you sharing with your guests why they should come and stay with you. It's you sharing the local area. It's you sharing the services that you provide. So don't hide behind a logo. Get your face out there and be your business, because that's what you are. And that's what makes you different from anyone else. The thing with Booking.com and Airbnb is they're a faceless business, and we can't be that if we want to have longevity in this game. It also separates us from our competitors. There is not a lot of our competitors that have embraced this, that are running with this, and that are really reclaiming the businesses. They're more than happy to run on Airbnb. There are plenty of forums out there where you'll go in and, oh, my Airbnb account, I'm not getting any bookings. What am I going to do? Market your business, reclaim your business, get a Booking Direct website. But these people are not happy. They don't want to do that. And that's fine, but we can and we will and we should. It absolutely breeds customer loyalty. Putting your face out there with your brand and, what are your USPs? What is your mission statement? Tell your guest what all these things are, because they're going to come back to you. They're not going to go and book on Booking.com or Airbnb. And it's about building relationships, not just with your guests, but with the local community. The problem with Airbnb and Booking.com is that they've always, they never put any money back into the economy. So, and it's a faceless business. And that's why we get so many disgruntled locals. The community kind of reject the Airbnb business, and it's because it's faceless, and we really need to change that. So it's not just about building relationships with your guests. It's about building local relationships with service providers, experiences, authorities, and neighbours. By doing these things, we can actually hold premium pricing. So it's not a race to the bottom. Now, I am in the luxury end of the market. I don't really give out discounts unless you're a return guest. But there are so many people who maybe are in the high-end luxury niche that I'm in, but maybe kind of low to mid. And that's fine. There is no issue with that. But it's about building a community with other hosts So you all hold your pricing, so you're not devaluing what your brand. What we do is hard, and we should be paid for what we do. I'm cultivating a culture where it's not a race to the bottom. We all hold our prices, and we get as much profit as possible, because that's what it's all about. We don't go to work to earn nothing. Nobody goes to work to earn nothing. And so it's incredibly important that we cultivate these relationships with people. Pride and retention in your employees really is key. Now, I don't employ all of my staff. There's 2 that I employ. The rest of them are self-employed. But everybody's on the same page. They're all on my vision. They know what the end goal is. They know how I want my guests to feel, the experiences that we share, and that we're so much more than a head on a bed. And if people don't buy into that, they're not the right person for me and my business. And we've really bred that culture within Muse Escapes that, people do take pride in what they do. We do have people who stay for quite a long time. Sometimes they leave 100%, and it's normally the people who, and maybe have got that a little bit wrong in the first place. But, our head housekeeper, she's been with us just over a year now, and she really believes in the ethos of the business. And also, we've also got Vicky, again, goes above and beyond for our guests, and Claudia, our guest relationship manager. There's nothing's a problem. There's always a solution. And that's what we're all about, is solutions. Nothing is an issue for our guest. Nothing should be a problem. Nothing should be an inconvenience for Muse Escapes if a guest requires something, and that's just the ethos that we have. And also, exit. If we all get into this, how do we want to get out of it? And building a brand is a massive part of that. If you want to sell your business, I've got a higher chance of selling my business if it's branded as Muse Escapes. It's a family-owned business. And we've got all these great things that are coming out of the business. Whereas if you're just an Airbnb business who only advertises on Airbnb and doesn't do any of these other things I'm going to discuss with you this evening, who's going to sell their business? Because I think I've got a business and that person who's got 100% reliance on Airbnb doesn't. It's really, really important that we have an asset bank. So what do I mean by that? It's not cash in the bank, it's assets. And I don't mean like, a property or something like that. I mean what do we have in our business that can generate us cash? And again, if you were to sell, what comes along with that business? And the absolute 2 top key things has got to be a website, a direct bookings website, and an email database. They are the 2 top things that you absolutely need. If you don't take away anything else from this list, it has to be a direct bookings website and an email database. I'm going to go into them a little bit more on the next slide. But we've also got collaborative marketing. Now, this could be with local hosts, local businesses. This could be service providers. It can be associations. Whatever that means to you. Collaborative could mean anything, could mean something different to you. But for me, it's about cultivating a community in the hospitality industry within the Peak District. So any people who we provide services for or experiences, we advertise them in our guidebook. They advertise them on their social media platforms and on their website, and it's collaborative marketing. So we're building up a reputation within the area, and it's power of association. Also, Facebook groups are a great way to get direct bookings. There are so many out there. There are general ones for the UK, but also there's a lot of niche ones for your area. So we have a lot of visit the Peak District, stay holidays in the Peak District, and we're constantly posting them types of groups, again, to generate direct bookings. There are so many people who I see say they've got availability and then post an Airbnb link in them groups. It is just sacrilege. You've just spent your time scrolling through them groups, replying to them guests who potentially might come and stay with you, and then you're giving 20% of your income to Airbnb. Why do you not have a direct bookings link that you can put in there and go, yeah, if you want to book direct, here's my direct booking link. If you want to give a direct booking discount, that's completely your choice. But why would you just give away something to Airbnb when they've not done the work? You've just done the work. Stop giving away your profit. Podcasts. Love a podcast. In 2020, before I got into this fully, I was listening to a podcast on the Boosted podcast. I can't remember what episode it is, by the way. And I remember Mark mentioning about everybody in hospitality should have a podcast, and I absolutely agree. So I've got one from years ago called the Social Propertypreneur podcast, which is all about working with other property investors and how they leverage social media in their businesses. But then when I got into hospitality, I really wanted to set up one for my guests, and the Peak District podcast was born. It's actually really grown legs. We've not done that many episodes, but what's happened from that is local big attraction, like big local attractions, visitor attractions, businesses who would not normally speak to little old me who's got a holiday let business are actively contacting us to collaborate and work on the podcast together. Which is just incredible, and it's opened up so many doors and so many opportunities for people like Visit England, Visit Peak District, the Heights of Abraham, and the list goes on. And that is just by doing a podcast. What is the podcast? What is the aim of it? Well, it's for our guests to listen, and for our guests to, when they're with us in the Peak District, they spend the money in the Peak District. They don't go outside the peaks. We're connecting them with local services, local experiences, and that they keep the money within the economy. The one big thing I have learned by talking to local authorities is that they are really resentful of the Airbnb model and the Booking.com model, and then platforms, because when a guest books an Airbnb and Booking.com, not £1 of that comes back into the local economy. Whereas when they're utilising people like me and Booking Direct, I advertise on Visit Peak District in Derbyshire. I get majority of my leads through that website. So I will then renew my membership and do it for another year. So I'm putting money back into the local areas, whereas Booking.com and Airbnb do not do that. They don't try and improve. And, you know, it's a mega amount of money that we are losing in our local economies. We also have books and content. So this could mean anything. This could be you writing a book. This could be you collaborating in a book. This could be you writing a book about the local area. There's loads of things you can do in regards to that. You don't have to, but it's just another thing it's another string to add to your bow of building up a really great, fruitful business and a substantial business that, you know, you've got multiple streams that are coming in. So it could be a book about, you know, the top 10 pubs to visit in the Peak District. It can be a digital form so you can send it out to your guests. And, you know, by doing all these things, we're just adding to the ecosystem, our own little ecosystem of our business. And then the broader view is the ecosystem of the actual Peak District for me, or, you know, your local area. All these things are to generate a really fruitful ecosystem where guests come, guests spend their money here, guests book direct, so we can then put back into the economy and we can get bigger and put ourselves out there, so we get more guests coming to the Peak District, and increase the visitor attraction footfall. From doing all these things, you will get speaking opportunities. You will get the opportunities to do workshops. I've been fortunate. I've been in the property niche for a long time, and, you know, built my speaking up in that way. And luckily, them skills are now kind of flipping over into the hospitality sector, which I'm so grateful for, because, you know, I am quite new to the industry, but I've learned an incredible lot and I've implemented a lot in a very short period of time. From all these things, you will get nominated for awards, you will win awards, and then you will get people, local influencers, who start contacting you. They want to come and stay with you. One caveat to that, because that is a whole new presentation, is you really need to have your T's and C's locked down for influencers. You need to set the expectation of what you want in return. It's not just a free stay for them and you don't want anything on the back end. If you're giving away free night stays to influencers, what is in it for you? Is what I would say. And then, you know, you get local press interest, you get featured in magazines, etc. And, you know, you can just see that there's a real broader picture here than just putting your room on Airbnb and getting somebody to stay and you're getting paid for it. There's so much more that we can be doing here. There are 3 golden rules that you must do. I can't delve into the third one so much today, but you must have a direct booking website, and you must have something that you can collect your emails. How are you going to collect people's emails? Now, I'm not just talking about the lead booker's email, which I'm going to go on to the next slide, and a customer relationship manager, a CRM system. Boostly do one. You can go get some other ones online. I use the Boostly one, and I use another system as well, which I'm going to share with you. But they're great tools. Look into it, what's going to work for you. There's a free one called Podio out there. So if anyone's into Citrix, Podio, there's a free CRM system too. But these are the three that I use. I have a Boostly direct booking website. I've got the 3.0 template, and it's awesome. Go and check it out. It is museescapes.com, and you'll see, like, you know, Boostly do so many websites, but you won't look at one and think, oh my god, that's a Boostly one, that's a bit like go look at mine. It's completely unique. That is the QR code. If you want to book a call about that, I would highly recommend. If you're looking to do, this is my third one, right, guys? I wish I'd just gone here first, but I didn't know about it. So don't learn from my mistakes. Save some money and go directly to Boostly and just get your booking direct website done. Second thing is Stayfy. I really can't recommend this piece of software enough. So what is Stayfy? So if you've ever been to a Starbucks, Costa, hotel, and you go in and they ask for you to sign onto the Wi-Fi, but to do that, you have to provide them with an email address. This is what Stayfy does. So until your guest checks in, I would say high percentage, 98%, that you would just have the lead booker's email address, okay? When the guest checks in, everyone who is staying, every person who is staying in your property will want access to the Wi-Fi. People can't live without Wi-Fi, so they'll all want to log on. But if they all want to log on, so for example, Foxlow Grange sleeps 30, every weekend I get at least 30 new emails to my database. And that's just one check-in, that's just on a Friday. And we have multiple people check in before. We've got Candle House that sleeps 7 people. So that can be up to 14 people a week if we get 2 turns. So even if you've just got a cottage, a 1-bedroom cottage, that's 2 people. That's doubling your email list in 1 year. It's a massive asset to your business is Stayfy. I would highly recommend it. Please check out that QR code to find out some more information. And if you need to so in the US, they send out the pre-programmed hardware. You can literally just buy that off Amazon in the UK if you want to. It's super simple. And then have a call with them and they'll set it up online. It's really easy to set up, guys. So worth it for your business. The CRM system I use is High Level. Obviously, I've also mentioned Boostly do a CRM system. You can also do some, if you wanted something completely free, there's one called Podio. But all them things are really important to grow your business. Really important. Going to the U. So it's all about understanding your guest avatar. Who is coming to stay with you? Knowing this information is really key. So where are they coming from? How old are they? Are they female? Are they male? What are they interested in? A lot of the people who obviously are going to come and stay with me are interested in hiking, biking, climbing, caving. So, you know, when I'm doing my marketing, I know that that's my guest profile, so then I can tailor my social media to them actual guests. What are the travel motivations? Why are they coming to stay with you? What's the booking habits? Are they avid booking.comers? Are they more about sustainability? Are they more about the family-owned business who's got a face? Find out who these people are who are coming to stay with you, because it is the best information you will ever have. Are they travelling alone? Are they travelling as a family? Do they want to? So one of the best social media videos I did was me travelling from Sheffield, where I live, to my holiday home in Buxton without driving. I got on a bus, I went on a train, I got on a bus at the other end, and it was just showing that actually both of my properties you can access without driving. You can get on a train, you can get on a bus. and it's quite cheap and sustainable, and a lot of people are really going down sustainable travel. What special requirements do people need? Ask them. We have we do get quite a lot of people who are hearing impaired and visually impaired who come and stay with us at Foxlow Grange. Do I have loads of things that are adapted to that disability? No, I don't. My dad was deaf, so I understand that the deaf disability a little bit more than maybe most people. But what special requirements would you need to enable them people to come and have a 5-star stay with you? And the number one question, why are they visiting? Why are they coming? Is it a family gathering? Is it they're coming to visit family? Is it that they're coming to go hiking, biking? Why are they coming to stay with you? And that is so important, because what you're going to take from this bit of information here is what's really going to set your business apart from everybody else. Because you're going to create a personal service. Businesses are faceless these days. Booking.com and Airbnb are faceless businesses. We cannot be a faceless business anymore. And from this, we can create amazing personal services for our guests that bring them back year after year. They create memories, they have amazing experiences, and that makes our business more profitable. The best way of capturing the main question, why are they coming to visit you, is with a pre-arrival form. Now, I use the PMS property management software. So if anyone doesn't know what property management software is, I have some technology that sits between Booking.com and my calendar. And every time I get a booking, it goes through my PMS and blocks out the calendar, so it stops me getting multiple bookings on the same day. Also, I can manage my guests as well from that platform, message them, etc. I use Hostfully because it was the best for my business. There is loads and loads of PMSs out there. Everybody's business requirements are different. And just one key bit of information I would say about when you're trying to select a PMS, where do you want the business to be? Not where it is now, but where do you want it to be? So do you want to be managing multiple properties of other people? You might not be there now, but that might be where you want to be. You need to have that in mind, because not all property management software enables you to do that. The reason I chose this platform is because they have guidebooks online that integrate with the system, and I can provide images when people are booking on the website. So some of the PMS, because upsells are massive in my business, so a lot of the PMSs will do just a line of information and a price. I wanted something that had an image so people can see what they're booking. There's a massive difference in higher conversion rate if somebody can visually see what they are booking and to just text. We all buy with our eyes. That's just how we are as humans. So that's why I chose Hostfully, because it was the only one at the time that did that, linking from people booking on my direct website, the upsells they can add on after. A bit like a Moonpig card transaction, if anyone knows what Moonpig is. You'll buy your card and then you'll say order, then it'll take you onto the next page where you can add flowers, chocolates. That is what I wanted my website to be like, and that is what my website is like. And Hostfully and the Boostly website work really well together to achieve that. If you don't have a pre-arrival form option on your PMS, you can also just create one on Google Forms. And what we're trying to get here is, why are they coming to visit? Why is that information so key? It's because we can then speak to our guests in our marketing, in our upsells and our experiences that we're going to offer them to make it a really, truly memorable stay. I would never put this social media out there if I didn't allow dogs or groups of girls, women. The reason why I put this out there is because they are people that come and stay with me. So it's really important that you have a congruent piece of information that if it's your guest who stays, that's the message that you're putting out on social media, on your website, in your marketing. And also in your upsells. Strategic partnerships, really powerful. What do I mean by that? Collaboration is key, not just with other hosts. You've got your hosts, you've got competitors that you can collaborate on, passing guests to other people if you're completely fully booked, and vice versa for a percentage. They would much rather give you a percentage than pay Airbnb and Booking.com. I know that because many, many people have said this to us. We have a bed and breakfast next door to us, not luxury, but sometimes we are full and they want to stay in the area. Or people have booked 2 apartments with us, and then they've got somebody who wants to book on later on, and we're full. So we recommend next door. Now, it's not the same standard as ours, but I would much rather give my business to Alison next door than sending them on to Booking.com or Airbnb or the Premier Inn down the road, who don't put back into the local economy. I would much rather give it to Alison next door. Experience and services. Collaborating with these types of people works wonders for your business. You get great deals for experiences. You can provide really unique local services. So when I say local services, we have a local chef that comes and does chef experiences. He'll do a grazing board, he'll do afternoon tea. We have the local coffee provider who does complimentary coffee for our guests. We also have experiences like Peaks and Paddles, one-man band. I always try and support the smaller businesses. He does caving, canoeing, kayaking, and collaborating with these people is key because I advertise their services and they advertise in return. Key people of influence, getting to know who are these people in your industry, who are these people in your area, and getting to know them. What can you do? If you've both got the same aligned vision, what can you both do together to get your business, their business, and the message to the next level? And the opportunities that come from that really are amazing. I now do the short-term rental network, something I'm massively passionate about in the Peak District. And the people who I collaborate with on that event is Mark at Boostly and the Visit Peak District in Derbyshire. They support that event because we have, we're all aligned with the same goal, is to get people to book direct and reclaim their businesses. Also working with associations and authorities. I work really closely with the Visit Peak District in Derbyshire. We're very aligned in our values, and collaboration really is key. We get a lot of opportunities from them, as in people recommending people to stay with us, speaking opportunities, and off the back of that, they do share us a lot on their social media and they have a massive, massive reach. So all these things together really do create a fruitful ecosystem. And these are just an example of a couple of our collaborations. This one here with the Bentley. The Bentley's not mine, as much as I'd like it to be. It's definitely not mine. This was Men's Fashion Magazine, who came out and wanted to do a photo shoot at Christmas in front of Foxlow Grange. They've got they've got a social media account, which is I think it's got 350,000 people on it. So yes, but we had very clear guidelines of, right, okay, so you're coming to do a free stay, but this is what we expect in return. We also, on the right hand side, that is Buxton Opera House. I don't know if anyone's been to Buxton Opera House, but I'd absolutely recommend you go. It's beautiful. And I've always worked with the Crescent Hotel, which is a 5-star hotel in Buxton. They've never worked with anyone else in regards to accommodation providers until little old us came along, because they could see that we were trying to do so much more for the area, retain guests here, working with local businesses. And from that, we are now their only self-catering accommodation partner. And then personally, there's lots of things that have come from it. I'm part of Hospitable Host Book. I'm now I work with a lady called Stacey Cooper, and we do her Property Tribe, which is all about empowering women in business and property. And we're really supportive, collaborative network. I've got the Peak District podcast, which has got so many opportunities, and the networking events that I do. So the short-term rental network, so many opportunities have come off the back of that, not just for me, but for local hosts. And we all support each other. That's what we need to do. We all need to be supporting each other and not be in that mindset of, competition, I'm not going to share any information. We need to get out of that out of that mindset. Like, collaboration is key. Elevating your guest experience is not just from them booking, it's looking, booking and beyond. There's a couple of things here, how we can elevate the experience, make it personal. By finding out why they're coming to the Peak District, I know exactly what I can offer my guests, from places, recommending them local places to eat, drink, hike, bike, whatever their niche is, why they're coming. I can then customise my upsells, my experiences and the actual upsells to our guests. And you do this from your pre-booking information. So do the pre-booking form, and then we can personalise the communication. It has to be a seamless booking process, and that's why I'd highly recommend getting a Boostly direct booking website. You must engage with your guests before they check in, and one of the key reasons is, one, we can absolutely nail down what upsells we can give them, what experiences we can upsell, the recommendations, so they do have a 5-star stay and a memorable stay, so they come back. But also, because what we can do then is, God forbid there's an issue, but we've already built up that relationship. So what we're actually going to do is go to point 9 there, and reputation management. Because you've built that relationship with that guest, you are a higher percentage of salvaging your reputation because you've spoken to them numerous times. Having a virtual guidebook, you must have one. Actually having a leather-bound guidebook is not good anymore. It's not good enough. You need to have one physical one that they can have when they check in, an online one that they can have access before and during their stay, and you need someone to pick up the phone. Human communication has literally dropped off the face of the earth, and we're in the hospitality business. We need to be hospitable. Concierge service, critical factor for me in my business. We always have somebody that answers the phone, doesn't matter what time of day, night, weekends, whatever, somebody will always answer the phone. There's no Muse escapes, nothing is a problem, there is always a solution. We always put personalised departure notes under doors when people check out. It's a really nice feature that we've added. Again, if something the guest hasn't been happy about, which we communicate from, obviously, once they've booked and we've confirmed, once they've checked in, an hour after, is everything okay? An hour before, the day before they check out, here's all the things that you need to remember before you check out. An hour after they've checked out, again, thank you so much for staying with us, have a safe journey back. A day after, hope you got back okay, and then a month after. So it's all these points of contact between. You must follow up and feedback. If something's gone wrong, fix it, solve it, speak to the guest. Stuff goes wrong in my business, and sometimes, a lot of the time, it's not my fault. It's the guest hasn't read something or they haven't done something. My biggest thing is people check into Foxlow Grange and think it's a hotel, and it's actually self-service accommodations. It blatantly says that everywhere. But some people, as we all know, don't read. But because we've managed to, we've built up that relationship beforehand, we do sometimes manage to get around that. There's the odd person that we don't, but do you know what? I think it's key that we do get some real reviews, because if we just had 10s and 5s consistently, it does look a bit suspect. So, we do get the bad reviews occasionally, but it's how we respond and how we manage that. ChatGPT is your friend. If you don't want to respond in an angry manner, because we do put everything into our businesses, it is personal for us, it is personal. Please use ChatGPT. I reply to all of mine now on ChatGPT, and it's great. We only give discounts to return guests. You will very, very, very few and far between see us doing a percentage off. It's normally a value add. Why? Because I don't want to devalue my business. I don't want people to be waiting to get 20, 30, 40% off. I want them to book because we're offering late checkout, early check-in, a free grazing board, including, a free dog fee, whatever that may be. We always do value add. We don't do discounts. And from there, we need to build and grow the relationship, because then they'll come back time and time again. And we've got a really great conversion of people who booked last year who have now rebooked for this year because they're booking direct, because we've nurtured them. We got it right first time because we listened and found out why they were coming to stay with us. We need to be multiple streams of income. There's all these different things here that we can do. We are seasonal, so what do we do in the downtimes? Now we do retreats, we've applied for a wedding license, we do business meetings, which is spelt wrong. We do open days, we can do mini festivals, networking events. Have you got part of your space that you can hire out during the day? For next year, for January, February, looking at doing spa days, i.e. you can come and hire an apartment, use the hot tub, use the lady who we use who comes and does facials and massages, and you don't have to stay over. But it's using the space, it's getting money for the space. Please be more than a head on a bed. We have to be an experience. We put so much love into our businesses that it's a real shame that we rely on other people to run them. Reclaim your business. Don't build your house on somebody else's ground. And please be more than a head on a bed. Be an experience. Thank you very much. I am Laura Muse. You can see me all over social media at Laura Muse or follow my business at Muse Escapes. And if you would like to join my free community, which is supercharge your marketing for your STR business, please check out the QR code. It's free. We just put loads of free hints, tips, tell you about the local networking events we're doing, and hopefully you can come along to them and enjoy the rest of the summit.
Can we all please show Laura some love in the comments? What a fantastic session that was. And please, can you all make sure that you go and tap into all of the free resources that Laura has to offer. We'll make sure that links and all that good stuff will be either in the comments now or we'll do it in the post live videos once we get done with this mammoth session today. And talking about mammoth sessions, let's get straight in with the next one, please. Now, if you're still with us, leave a hashtag live in the comments. But next up, we've got data. And when I think of data, I think of one man, Mr. Jamie Lane. Now, Jamie, he is a podcast host. He is the man with the stats, and he also tunes in every single month to Good Morning Hospitality with our good friends over there, Will, Brandy, and Michael Golden. So he's very well known in the industry. I was at a conference in Nashville, and he got up on stage. He looked like a rock star, and everybody was hanging off his every word because they spot the trends of what is coming next from a data point of view. And I've asked him to come back to let us know what we need to know as we go into Q2 of 2024. So can we all please show a little bit of love? Tap that love hat emoji button as many times as you can. And let's bring in Mr. Jamie Lane.
And I'm just going to start across the board what we're seeing overall in globally. If you look at every single region, North America, Europe, APAC, South America, we're still seeing very strong supply growth. The weakest growth that we're seeing right now is in North America at only 15%. Strongest growth we're seeing in South America, listings up almost 21%. Really strong growth in Brazil, Argentina, and Chile right now. When we look at overall occupancy, we're seeing declines across the board. So we are seeing demand being outstripped by supply growth, though demand is positive throughout the world. ADRs are sort of a mixed bag, growing in Europe, declining slightly across the rest of the world. And that means RevPARs are up in Europe, while down slightly low single digits in North America, South America, and APAC. Thinking about the overall economy, we've all been very focused on inflation. We are seeing inflation now coming down in both Europe, the US, the UK, maybe some stickiness around this 2.5% to 4% level, but coming down nonetheless. And we do expect the sort of broader tightening that we've been seeing in the financial markets with the central banks to ease and maybe some loosening of financial conditions going forward. When we look at just overall demand for short-term rentals, this is one of my favorite metrics And this just gives us a sense in January, February, you can see in the yellow line how many nights were booked in those months and how that compares to nights booked in prior years. So this is looking at every single short-term rental listed on the major OTAs, total how many bookings they're getting, whether it's through the major OTAs, whether it's direct, whether it's in any channel that is being booked on. And what we see is there's a lot of healthy bookings happening to start the year. So typically Q1 is one of the strongest quarters for booking as people start making their plans for summer travel, spring break travel, and 2024 was a great start to the year in terms of overall booking activity. That said, I'm going to show you guys this sort of profile of two different companies. And one that sort of called out on the left that they're seeing softening demand. 2024 was off to a very difficult start. And they're sort of looking for conditions to change going forward. They ended 2023 with gross bookings down 19%. And then on the other side, another company in the same sector operating in the same markets, they said they saw strong guest demand, growth accelerating in underpenetrated markets, and that they're actually be able to drive affordability for guests. And they saw gross bookings up 15% year over year. So I want everyone to sort of think, who do you think those companies are? You can say it out loud. We can't hear you. So the first one is Vacasa. So one of the largest global property managers. Bookings down 19%. As I said, their stock down almost 65% versus the same time last year. And then the other is Airbnb. So Airbnb's been doing very well. Stock up 36% over the past year. Gross bookings up 15%. And the trends that we're seeing very much follow these two companies, especially in the US, but globally as well. So where we see operating performance, so the occupancies, ADRs, RevPARs that these properties are earning are down, while supply is up substantially and overall demand is up substantially. So Airbnb is very much able to ride that wave of growing overall supply and demand, while that really high supply growth is impacting occupancies negatively, causing ADRs to decline in many areas around the world, especially the US, and where we're seeing their unit economics at a booking level. And this could broadly apply to all of you listening to this call. While we might hear Airbnb doing well, when we look at our own book of business, we could see bookings down. So when we look specifically at the US, and I like to break up the country into a few different ways, and this one's by price tier. So luxury being the highest priced listings in a market, budget being some of the lower priced listings in a market. And really across the board, we're seeing RevPAR declines. What I find really interesting here is on the upper end, we're actually seeing price increases, but the biggest occupancy declines. While on the lower end, we see the biggest occupancy or ADR decreases, while not as much as an occupancy decline. So what it looks to me is at the higher end, hosts are maintaining rate at the expense of occupancy, while on the lower end, hosts are more willing to cut rate to maintain their occupancy, all sort of working out to declining RevPAR, and everyone's earning less money, but it's sort of a different approach to going about managing revenue going forward. When we look at occupancy, as I said, it's broadly down, but where it had been below 2019 in January, now above again in February. And we seem to be roughly sort of running with pre-pandemic levels of occupancy and ended the year that way. We talked about supply growth, and what is really apparent is that there's a lot of and sort of diverging trends happening in terms of overall supply growth in the US. And I'm going to start with what we see in terms of mountain and lake, sort of the coastal traditional vacation rental markets, really and slowing supply growth, only 10, 11, 12%. We're up about 30% from pre-pandemic levels. But with the high home values, high interest rates, to get those homes, we've been seeing supply growth slow. Now we can also look at sort of the largest cities in the US. And so you've got supply growth growing strongly in the suburban areas. We actually see it now starting to grow, or we did in 2023, in urban areas, but is still below, albeit only 1% below 2019 levels. And then in the small and mid-sized cities, this is where we've seen the most growth and continue to see the most growth in new listings, where these location types are both now 20% growth year over year, above 20% growth year over year. Mid-sized cities, we've seen 60% more supply added since 2019. In the small city rural areas, we've seen 100%. We've seen a doubling of the number of listings in these areas since 2019. So we talked about occupancies declining, but are guests still traveling? And the answer is broadly yes. When we look across the US and the major different room types, how large are these units? We do see some weakness in private shared room studios. This is playing into some of the slower growth and declining growth in some of the large metro areas. And then we're seeing still the strongest growth in demand in the larger type units, homes. So 3, 4, 5+ bedrooms, seeing significantly higher growth than the US on average. When we look at over this past year, domestic versus foreign demand, so overall demand, as you remember, up about 6% in the US. Americans traveling within the US, domestic demand only up about 4.5%. Foreign inbound, i.e. foreigners coming to the US travel, are actually seeing really strong growth there, up 18%. And domestic outbound outpacing it. So these are Americans traveling overseas, up 22% year over year. Now, each of those compared to 2019, and we're seeing demand across the board up, except for foreign inbound. So US has still not seen a recovery of foreign travelers coming back to the US. We think the strong dollar has a big factor to that. So for all you global hosts out there, the American hosts could really use you to come visit. Demand is still not back. Our outlook for 2024 and 2025 calls for pretty much a flat year for 2024. Occupancy slightly declining versus 2023. ADR slightly increasing, which essentially leaves RevPAR flat. And then we expect to turn to growth on both occupancy and a bit more on ADR, maybe back to long run average growth, with RevPAR increasing 4.1%. That is very much predicated, though. You see on supply growth, listings nights percent change, going from what we saw in 2023 up 12% to 8% in 2024. And then declining further to just 5.5% growth in 2025. If supply growth maybe outpaces that, that could mean that occupancies continue to decline, or if maybe we see a recession or some weakness in the overall economy. So as you might have heard, we have this really spectacular event coming up in the US in April next month. And it got me sort of thinking, is the sun the new Taylor Swift? And a big piece of that is, like in 2023 and what we're seeing in Europe in 2024, Taylor Swift and her concerts causing huge increases in demand for that event. We're seeing the even stronger increases in these markets, sort of in the path of the eclipse, around that event. So demand, forward pacing demand for Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and even when we just call out small city rural areas throughout the country, we're seeing demand and triple digit increases, ADRs up 30-40% around the date. Occupancies in these markets only almost entirely sold out already, still with a month to go before the solar eclipse. There's also sort of the competition with hotels in the US. We have seen short-term rentals continue to pull back share over time. Earned share, that came down a bit during COVID, but now we see it growing again. And we expect to reach the highs that we had seen during COVID. 14.5% share of total nights stayed in the US will be in a short-term rental, with the rest staying in hotels and other forms of lodging. Shifting over to Europe, we have seen, as I said, very strong growth on both supply and demand in Europe. We've actually seen a little bit, if you sort of squint your eyes, maybe a reacceleration in demand after we'd saw some cooling last summer. So December, January, and February, all strong sort of periods for both nights stayed, demand nights, and nights booked. And that's for future dates. February being one of the strongest months we've seen in a long time. So really sort of teeing up the year maybe for continued strong growth. Overall occupancies, we're now very much in a normal occupancy pattern. Weak January, growing in February. We're just over 50%, very much aligning with what we've seen in more normal years. Overall demand, we've talked about, is now back in Europe. Had fully recovered finally in March of 2023. Supply finally recovered in September 2023. So when we look on a trailing 12-month basis, we're still seeing occupancy outpace supply. But we do expect those lines to converge. I think 2024 will be our last year of really outsized occupancy growth. We're very much into that normal range now. And we expect them to sort of pull into equilibrium. When we look across sort of the top 20 countries in Europe, you see we sort of bucket them in a few different ways. One is, and now we're looking at trailing 12-month performance through January 2024 compared to January 2022, sort of pre-COVID, and just how have these markets recovered or not from the pandemic. We see quite a few, most of them are now well above 2019 levels of demand. We're actually seeing some now that have grown demand so much that they're into the sort of occupancy decline part of their cycle. So you see France, UK, Belgium, Germany, Austria, Poland, Sweden, Norway, and Finland all seeing a slight trailing 12-month decline in occupancy over the past year. UK, France, Portugal, Italy, Greece, very much like in that sort of sweet spot of recovered demand, occupancy either growing or only slightly declining, strong pricing power there. And then on the left side, you see the countries that are still looking to recover from the pandemic: Croatia, Czech Republic, Ireland, Netherlands, Denmark, Hungary. What a lot of those countries have in common is sort of big cities that dominate their sort of ability to attract guests, very much reliant on foreign travelers as well. Not a lot of domestic demand in a lot of these countries, and still not yet able to attract either the demand or the recovery in listings that they had from pre-pandemic periods. The ones that I think are interesting, both Croatia and Ireland, where they're now recovered on occupancy. So they're fully back. And that could mean more pricing power and then more listings start to come in, given that they're achieving higher than pre-pandemic levels of occupancy. When we look on the past year, where supply is coming in, where demand's coming in, where sort of changes in occupancy are happening, we see growth in demand really across the board. Croatia was the only market that saw a year-over-year decline in demand. Year-over-year change in supply growing strongly. And you do see a slight correlation there. The market's growing supply the strongest, or the ones seeing declines in occupancy, sort of parallel some of the trends that we see across the world. And then sort of pulling out some of the major cities in the UK of which ones are seeing declines versus increases. We've got some sun markets, the only ones really seeing increases in overall occupancy over the past year. So Malaga, Dubrovnik, Sevilla, and it looks like Barcelona and Nice on that list. And then the ones seeing some declines in occupancy over this past year: Warsaw, Dublin, Turin, London, Marseille, Krakow, Paris. Paris is going to be a big year for France in general, with the Olympics coming this summer. What I thought was also really interesting on just where we're seeing some of the strongest growth relative to 2019 and over the past year is maybe some of the lesser traveled Eastern European countries, Albania, Kosovo, Moldova, and Romania, all above 20% growth on a year-over-year basis. So what's going on prices? So we track prices in two different ways, and we've shown those for the UK, Spain, and France here. One is just our sort of standard methodology you see in blue, and overall revenue, nights sold, and what is the average rate paid, compare that to last year and to 2019. And then we also have this new index called our repeat rent index, where we're just looking at units that were available in both periods. So it's really like a same unit analysis. Like, you were here in that period, you're here now. What was the rate you charged then? What is the rate you charge now? So we're keeping it on an apples to apples comparison. And what we see since 2019 is, yes, there's been a really large increase in rate, like more than 30% across these countries, but most of that rate increase was from a different mix of homes being rented, maybe larger homes, higher quality homes being rented, which pushes the overall average rate paid up. But when we look on a same store basis, we see rates only up around 15 to 20% since 2019. On a year-over-year basis, we actually see some differing trends where, and sort of the fundamental underlying rate increases are actually stronger. So in France and Spain, we see the repeat rent index up more than 5%, where the standard way we track ADRs up less than that, which means the supply going in now, or the types of units being rented now, might be a little bit of lesser quality, or at least lower rated. It could be that people are looking for deals in that market, are more budget or economy type properties. And you see the opposite in the UK. Still pricing power. Average daily rates on a repeat rent index up about 2.5%. And then our standard ADRs up in pounds over 5% for the year. Want to dig in deeply or quickly on review scores, because we've seen some, I think, some interesting trends sort of playing out. What I like to do is compare review scores among the different property types, and where we look at those managed by individual hosts and those managed by large property managers. And what we see here, and what I want to start initially, is just showing you what the sort of supply breakout is. So when we look at overall host accounts with 21 plus listings, it only makes up about 1% overall hosts. But when we look at total listings, it's about 14%, and total reviews on Airbnb and Vrbo, it's about 12%. So small percent of hosts making up a large percent of overall bookings. But across every single one of these categories, we see the 1 to 2 to 5 unit operators really dominate the short-term rental industry in Europe. And that's true really across the board, where you've got a full 75% of listings in Europe are managed by hosts with 5 or fewer listings. But when we look at the growth over the past year, we actually see the strongest growth now happening among those higher unit hosts. So more than 21 units saw a growth on a year-over-year basis of about 25%, compared with about 10 to 15% for the smaller operator groups. So they are starting to get a larger share of overall inventory. But what I love to point out, and we're going to start breaking it out by price tier, and then I'm going to show it to you by unit count as well, that you can see different expectations with guests based on the different price tiers. So in those luxury properties, even though across the board, those luxury properties are getting significantly higher overall review scores, they get higher scores in cleanliness, they get higher scores when guests sort of rate the location. But when you look at the check-in experience, when you look at the communication, we see that guests aren't as happy. So with higher prices also comes higher expectations for service. And what we see broadly right now is in Europe, and this holds in the US and other parts of the world as well, is that we're not quite hitting the mark in terms of guest satisfaction for some of the higher price units. It actually makes me excited to see that on the value side, that it's a lesser score, because that means broadly I'm at the luxury end, and maybe they're actually, and that it's not as big as a disconnect, that we're getting pricing those units correctly. And then when you look at large operators versus smaller operators, for all you small operators out there, we're doing a great job across the board, sort of outperforming all the larger operators across every single metric. The biggest gap, though, we see is communication. We also see it in value. And what that tells me, and maybe even in cleanliness as well, is as you scale, it can be harder to sort of keep that good communication to provide a more human touch on that. So with all that, I want to thank you. We all know what maybe we need to work on, what we need to focus on. As many of you may know, AirDNA has changed our pricing. So we now offer access to our platform for the entire world for one low annual subscription. So we don't have our subscription by city anymore. You sign up and you can access data for Atlanta, where I'm in, Bristol, London, Tokyo, San Francisco, every market now available on our platform. And if you haven't seen it yet, please check it out. And you can drive into all these metrics at a city level, submarket level, and see how all your competitors are doing. Thank you all so much for joining and listening to me today.
Wow. My mind's blown. There's so much to unpack there. Let me know in the comments what your takeaway was. And can we all, again, just show Jamie some love in the comments. He's come and done that. An unbelievable session. And thank you very much from me to Jamie. I know that he's in the group. So, and again, any questions, etc. And yeah, AirDNA has changed massively over the last year. This new model that they've got is very good, especially for people that aren't just restricted to one area. I know they listen to feedback heavily, and that was one of the things that came up last year as we were filming the documentary, because we used AirD&D, DNA data last year when we're doing the documentary with Justina and Kearney. And obviously we featured AirDNA in that, which was really cool. But yeah, the new model and everything is going down a storm. I see a lot of people talking about it. If you're not with them, please do get with them. The more that you can rely on data to make your decision-making process, the better. Obviously, you don't go 100% all in just on it, but you use it as something that will give you a massive heads up and a massive head start over, I'd say, 90% of the market out there. Okay, so the next two speakers before our top secret guest speaker is coming up after. The next two are maybe companies that you will not have heard of. Now, they have very kindly helped sponsor this event. Now, we're going to first of all hear from Excellent Team and what they do and what they offer. And again, I think this is really important when it comes to growing your business and, you know, the whole not who, not how philosophy and the mindset that we need to start bringing into it. And then you're going to hear from somebody that, again, is redefining websites, redefining this industry. And I've got to know him really well over the last year. We've had a lot of Zoom calls recently trying to figure out how we can work more closer together. And he's very kindly agreed to, you know, come on in and help sponsor help this put together so it's free for you. So please make sure that you give them the love and attention that they deserve, and be there in the comments and chat. And if you've got any questions, they will be around to answer. After we've done that, we're going to come back and we're going to finish off the session with our secret guest spot. And I will obviously introduce them in a little bit, but time to crack on. Let's jump straight back in. First of all, we're going to hear from the Extent team, and then we're going to flip over to Rudy from Mavericks.
Hello, everyone, and a big thank you to Mark and the Boostly team for inviting Extend Team to join the Book Direct Virtual Summit. I can think of few more exciting topics from a property manager's perspective than booking directly. Besides the cost effectiveness, we all know that a direct booking experience allows managers to really focus on providing unique and amazing interactions for guests. And in the end, this is what our business is all about. Please let me introduce myself and Extend Team. My name is Gerard Lester, and I'm responsible for working with Extend Team partners, helping them make important decisions when it's time to consider expanding their teams. I've been around the vacation rental space for a good 10 years and have worked with all sizes and shapes of property management companies in many different markets, mostly in the United States. And I love this business. Extend Team is our industry's leading remote staffing company. And if you are hearing about us for the first time, then it is my pleasure to introduce you to a service that may change the way you think about including remote staffing in your business plans. I'll spend a few minutes talking about the wonders and challenges of remote staffing in the vacation rental world and the services that Extend Team offers. Then I'll let you have a little time back and you can save your questions for when you set up a demo with our team. A little bit of history. After years of experience in the vacation rental business, Extend Team founder Ari Arialumis recognized a deep labor shortage in our industry. As we all experience, so many property management companies are chronically understaffed, especially in administrative and supporting roles. In particular, this creates a huge challenge in meeting ever-changing and escalating guest expectations. Accessing a reliable talent pool is key for providing growth for property management companies and the industry, and that was the starting point for Extend Team. 3 years ago, Extend Team started growing rapidly as a service focused on recruiting and developing highly educated, highly motivated remote team members at a great value, with a laser focus on the vacation rental business. The services we have scaled help property managers as well as industry suppliers and vendors help them manage labor costs and the complexity of recruiting, training, and retaining talent. We all know that it has never been easy to find and retain excellent employees in the hospitality industry, and the pandemic labor shortages only made it more difficult. Over time, Extend Team has built a service that attracts highly effective guest-facing and back-office support employees from locations that provide a great value to our partners. It is important to note that while we became known for delivering great guest service professionals, our recruiting and human resources services have grown tremendously. We are proud to be an employer of choice in the markets where we draw our talent from. and the range of roles we source continues to grow. Extend Team is focused primarily on talent acquisition in the Philippines and Latin America. We are, of course, not the only ones who saw this opportunity. However, the service that we have created solves for the many complexities and challenges that come with introducing a global workforce into what is no longer a localized industry. We have all witnessed the vacation rental space dramatically change over the last decade, and a highly effective remote staffing solution that truly works is an amazing resource for a property manager. Extend Team currently works with more than 160 partners, most of which are short-term rental property managers. But we do have clients in multifamily operations as well as suppliers in the vacation rental space. We have over 400 hospitality professionals in our workforce. We are adding new partners and team members every day. What you will find when you connect with us is that we operate from a position of experience and passion for the vacation rental industry. Providing remote staffing solutions for this business is our mission. To differentiate Extend Team services from outsourced call centers and answering services, we can take a little walk through extendteam.com. We source dedicated team members who work exclusively for our partners on a full-time basis. Our partners work with us to create detailed job descriptions and schedules that meet the needs of their business. Extend Team's recruiting professionals source and hire team members who are seeking opportunity to work remotely. These professionals quickly become instrumental members of our partners' teams and make significant contributions to the managers they work with. When we onboard a team member with partners, our wraparound service supports both the needs of the team member and the partner's business. Extend Team creates a supportive environment for team members with ongoing coaching and an ever-expanding benefits package. Listed here are some of the standard roles we can easily fill: reservation support, accounting and bookkeeping, guest services, back office coordination, administrative assistance, marketing professionals. But if you have a clear need in your business and wonder if remote team member would be effective, this is a great reason to talk to us. A lot of knowledge here to share that will help managers learn more about effectively managing remote workers and things to consider if you're curious about how remote staffing will work in your business. Ultimately, our services help our partners reduce and control labor costs, as well as meeting the challenges of attracting and retaining exceptional talent. Extend Team has the systems, processes, and company structure to help you source, manage, and retain virtual teams. For a more complete demo, get in touch with us at extendteam.com. It'll be a great opportunity to learn more about how remote staffing as a service can help your business succeed. I'll wrap up by saying that when I joined Extend Team 2 years ago, I truly had my doubts. 5 to 10 years ago, I'm not sure the vacation rental industry or communication tech in general was ready for a remote workforce that needs to be almost as connected as a local team. I've been amazed to see our management company partners embrace the work ethic and value that our team members bring to their companies and the way that a remote team can service guest needs. It's been wonderful for me to see some of the amazing results through Extend Team services. Our partners get their lives back and control costs, and our team members have found great career opportunities in the vacation rental industry. Thanks again to the Boostly team, and we look forward to connecting with you all again. Bye now.
Hi everybody, this is Rudy from Mavericks. I'm happy to join you guys for the Book Direct Summit. Today we're gonna look into a very interesting subject: AI in direct bookings. I know there's a lot of questions of everybody, and we get questions all the time. So we're happy to give you a bit of a glimpse of what AI can do for your direct bookings. So a bit about me first. 35, French, live in Tel Aviv. I'm the founder of Holy Guest, which is a 350 listings in Tel Aviv. Most of them are short-term rentals, some are long-term rentals as well. Been operating since 2014. Run through 3 M&As portfolios that we acquired during COVID. Big fan of direct bookings. We currently run around 80%, but since the last 4 years, we've been averaging around 52% direct bookings, which was around $25 million. We tend to do our direct booking through automations, marketing automations, and without paid ACO. We can talk about this later. And more recently, I'm the founder of Mavericks, which is a scaling technology profit-making technology for property managers. Our products focus around 4 verticals. Pulse, which is the cash flow and finance management system, because we focus mainly on systems and technology that can help you grow and scale the company, and finance management is indeed one of the biggest issues. Homies, which is around growing the company through owner experience. Cockpit, which is BI and advanced analytics. And our favorite, which is Shine, which is smart booking websites. We're going to dive in now, more around the capacities of Shine to use AI to give a better guest experience. So first, before we dive in, it's interesting to talk about what is AI and understanding AI. So it's going to be very 101 lesson kind of thing. But in AI and in that world, you will very often hear 2 main words coming, which is machine learning and artificial intelligence. So for you to understand very briefly, machine learning is actually like a brain. It's a lot of data points that you feed algorithms and models. So you can train the machine and the models so they can learn from it. So you can give reviews, you can give data, you can give listings, you can see IPs of people, of guests coming to your website, traffic, how they behave on your website. This is kind of data. So you create a brain through machine learning. And artificial intelligence is actually the results. What is the input and what is the insight you will gain from that, and that's the reaction, that's the action. So machine learning is the brain, when artificial intelligence is the action. All right. So now let me dive in and show you a quick video of how machine learning can help you and AI into your direct booking website. So this is an old video, but the first thing that can be used to enhance your guest experience through machine learning and AI is social streaks. Social streaks would be all along the visit on the website. Small notifications like this one. How many people stayed with you? So on the one side, it's giving a good guest experience. It just try to imagine traffic into a retail shop. So this is going to be the same thing. All along the visit to your website could give some kind of insight like this. How many people stay with you? So you can build trust, which trust is the number one thing you need to have on your website is to build trust just so we can book with you. So here, machine learning is about pushing specific notifications based on the page you are. So it's going to be a different page, different notification if you are on the landing page, or if you're on the results page, or if you're on the listing details page, or if you're on the booking checkout page. So on the landing page can be how many people stayed with you, or someone just left a 5-star review. On the results page, it can be there's a new discount that you could have. It could be things like on the results page, it could be someone just inquired, hurry up, it's a very busy period. and things like this. And then on the listing results page, you would have someone just booked, someone just inquired for that, 25 people stayed inquired in the last X days, etc., etc. Another thing that you could have um, is occupancy optimization offers. So also based on the dates that you would have, see at the top, then your website could push specific offers that you will be. So the idea here in occupancy maximization offers is based on the dates. Your website can understand which listing to push forward, because just like in a restaurant, when you have some meal that will expire tomorrow or the day after, then the waitress can recommend you a specific meal instead of the other one. Exact same thing here. You can have two specific properties that would fit the visitor's request, so you may give a bit of discount on one listing instead of the other. So here you can push with notification the special offers, and the website will in order to help you guys. First of all, to send that voucher, you will be able to ask the visitor to follow you guys on Instagram, so you can grow your audience online, and then collect those emails. Those emails would be an opt-in marketing opt-in. All right, and what AI can do here, machine learning, using API systems of background check, is actually background checking those emails, which is basically fraud detection. Fraud detection would basically check the email, make sure there's a verification of social networks, and Gmail or Facebook or Instagram. All of these things will give you a score of risk, whether there's a high risk of fraud or not a fraud. And then the website can decide to say, I want to move this guy to the next step, or not move this guy to the next step. If there's a high risk of fraud, the website can say, hey, I don't feel comfortable moving that person forward. I'm going to drop the website. I'm going to put a 404 error on the website. Website's not working, then and kind of put a barrier for that person to book. If the person is legit, you can move to the next phase. Let's say the person next to the next phase receives his coupon, then you can push specific listings based on the calendar optimization offers. Another thing that can AI do here based on the dates is, again, there's not AI here, just some flag that you can do here on your photos is to say, you can use image recognition, or it's just saying, based on the season, you could have seasonal photos. Let's think of Canada in the winter and Canada in the summer, or the Alps in the summer and the Alps in the winter. Based on the dates, you will not display the same photos or the same outdoor photos based on the season. So on the same day, two visitors could come to the same listing and see two different pictures. This is what's called adaptive content. And adaptive content is actually giving the ability for a website to adapt to whoever's looking at it. The same way you would do it on a face-to-face meeting, exactly the same thing is happening on your website. And then we can dive in here using machine AI models like ChatGPT. So I will explain to you what adaptive content can also do. So here, based on the number of guests or the type of guest, and analyzing your data, and so machine learning can analyze your data, the number of guests to millions of other reservations, reviews of other people, understand that people with IP or people from the US, from New York, that came for two people, in this case, like A, B, or C, or these specific types of amenities. So analyzing the reviews, the origin, the type of profile, the type of party, then you could actually change the description. So as you can see here, have an example of the top rated for business travelers. You could have spacious living room because they're going to be not two adults, they're going to be two adults, two children. So the description would adapt. And this is basically creating with AI, collecting the data, analyzing the data. It's creating new other descriptions and pushing descriptions based on the profile of people. This is a huge, huge, huge change because it's the first time that you could see a website that would actually adapt their language. So think of someone coming to your office and you see a business traveler wearing a suit and a small suitcase. You know specifically which listings you want to you would want to offer him, and see that person now with his family, wife, kids, and a newborn. You would not offer the same listing, and if you offer the same listing, they would not probably not like the same thing based if it's a family or so. If it's a business who would like Wi-Fi, the balcony, privacy, whatever, and if it's a family, that is spacious living room, that's kid friendly, that is secure, etc., etc. Exact same thing is happening here, and right, this is no AI here, just a good guest experience, but it's something that we have online on this website is distance to point of interest. Distance to point of interest is basically people are not coming to your listing to stay in your listings. They come to your listing to enjoy the city they are in. So here we added here the main points of interest around you. So that's you building it. But how is AI here working is that you can use that search bar, and based on the search bar and what people are looking for, you can look for specific points of interest in the city or specific address, and then we could recognize and signal, hey, people from this day to these days, there's abnormal activity around the search of that specific address, or people with IP from New York are looking for that specific address. And then you can understand that something's going on. Then there's maybe an event you're missing, then maybe there's a fair, maybe there's a concert or a game, something's happening, and you want to be aware, so the website could kind of alert you that something's happening. Last thing that obviously a very frequent one is machine learning powered attentive listings. This is basically saying what other people like, which is based on the fact that we understood, and you can understand, the website can understand that people that looked at these specific listings actually booked other listings. So instead of you get at the end of the listing, you understood that you need to have that he's not going to book, so you can suggest other listings you know that have it. So here I can show you a live example. Let me show you to this. Yeah, no, that's for the Holy Guest website. Let's go here, and here we can see in the live example of that. So see, we're going to put here dates. We're going to put some dates in May. All right, we're going to put 2 people, 3 people. We're going to put 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms with elevator and beach view, right? Based on that, all right, we have 6 listings with 100% matching, so you enter with the match score. And then she said, all right, we have 36 other listings we have partial match. You see here, 36 stays with partial match. They can show partial match. And here we would see specifically what other people that had the same criteria looked and what is missing in the listing. See, this is this one that has a beach view. This one has no beach view. And maybe there's one here, so most of them is no beach view. Maybe there's one with no elevator or something. Yes, this one has no beach view, no elevator. Same here. All right. So that is pretty much all for now. But for you to understand, that AI can be a great tool to help you get a better guest experience on your website. And you don't have to be afraid of AI. It's just a good tool, but it's not an end by itself. It's just something on the way that can help you get a good guest experience and get more conversion on your website. Some I don't know what my presentation is. I don't know. Okay, so I'm happy to answer any questions if you have, and to let you guys, if you have any questions, happy to go through. And yeah, happy to be in touch. Bye bye.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We have had some more quality this evening, and I've been sat here just for the last bit with my Hobgoblin beer from Wendy. Thank you very much for sending this through. Can we just please show some love for Rudy right there? So the tool that he has created, I've seen the questions. The tool that he has created, and I've got to know him really well in this product, really well over the year. We've been sort of comparing notes and stuff. So the tool that he's created, and bearing in mind, he's scratched his own itch. At the very start, he introduced you to his company, 350 listings in Israel. And he's created this because there was nothing out there like this. And he's now started to sell this as a product. This isn't for your ones and twosies. This isn't for your threes and foursies. You know, this tool is there for those with a large property. We're sort of talking 100 properties minimum. Now, when Rudy said, hey, I've got a video I can do, but it's maybe not going to be for the majority of the people that are going to be watching at the summit, I said, just please record it. Please showcase your knowledge, because this is an unbelievable tool. It's not built on WordPress. It's not a plugin. It's none of that. It's a tool that they have designed and created themselves. And this is like an aspiration goal of where you go to, because I've always said, you know, Boostly, what we do with websites, we will get you to where Rudy's company will take over, right? We provide that stopgap. We are better than the free website that you get with your property management software tool, but then there's the next level up. And I said, like, I want to pass the baton on to Rudy and his company, because what they can do is unreal. And we are trying to figure out how we can tap into their services, how we can bring what they've created with AI into Boostly and vice versa. But it's a long way coming, because it is so complex. But I wanted to be able to show you what can be done. And the more this technology, this AI technology, gets better and better and better, then who knows, we may be able to tap into that and bring it into like the Boostly world. But the thing that's the key about that, the key about this and the key about that is the personalization is going to win. Personalization to the person who's reading it. Now, I predict that it will only become a matter of time. Do you remember on the Minority Report? And again, mad reference, but in Minority Report, Tom Cruise walking down the street, and he looks at a billboard, and the billboard changes based on his likes and wants and needs. I think it's only a matter of time that websites will be like that. So the website that I look at will be different to the one that you look at based on your data, based on personalization, because personalization wins. We're going to be gone from the time where companies will do just a shotgun approach. They'll just spray something out and hope something sticks. And they want to make sure that every single time that they spend money on advertising, they want to make sure it's going in front of the right person. And we're really not that far away. Just think back to last night. Think back to 24 hours ago when we had the AI roundtable and what they were talking about and what they're going to be able to achieve in a very short space of time. And then look at, look at the movies, look at Minority Report, look at Ready Player One. That book was phenomenal. Look at the Iron Man movies with Jarvis. Like, how far are we really away from that? And without getting too futuristic, just start to get your mindset in that sort of route. And the thing that I've had stuck in my mind since doing that AI roundtable is that when they said last night, with AI, it will make it possible for one person to be able to manage 1,000 properties. And that's something that I feel like is going to stick with me for a while as we look to navigate what's coming next. So again, I don't want to get too futuristic. I want to just say a massive thank you to Jamie with the data. Again, phenomenal. Please go tap into AirDNA. They've totally changed their subscription model. I want to say thank you to Laura, to the Extent team. And we've got one more special session left. Now, this chap is a phenomenon. I always love watching his videos on YouTube. I love seeing his TikToks. I love seeing his Instagrams. He has got a way of just creating phenomenal content that gets reactions. In the UK, we would maybe call him Marmite. You'd either love him or you hate him. And for American viewers, just go Google what Marmite is. But when I put together this summit idea, I really wanted him to be part of it. And I sent him a message and a video, and he put it together beautifully. He sent me a video. Now, the video he sent was in a file that I couldn't play here. So I've been stressing for the last sort of 48 hours what to do. But literally a couple of hours ago, he sent me a message saying, you can probably convert it. And I was like, all right, let me give it a go converting it. So let's just see if this plays. Now, I'm going to need your help here, peoples. I need your help. If you're with me, and if you're still with me, because we've got a lot of people tuning in live, just put a hashtag live, because I'm going to start playing the video, and I've converted it to the file that will play on this live video with me. But if there's no sound, I need for you to say no sound. All right. I need you with me. Okay. Now, before we do this, and we're getting ready to finish up this evening, another 2-hour session. Wow. You're with me. Thank you, Paula. With me, we're live. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Dee. Thank you, Karen. I really do hope that you are loving this. And again, if you haven't done so already, take a picture, share this on your Facebook, share this on your Instagram, tag in Boostly over the next 24 hours. Whoever does that, I'll pick one person out of a hat and you will win a special prize tomorrow. Please do spread the word of what we've been doing, because I've been looking on the Facebook stories, I've been looking on Instagram stories. Paul Anderson has been doing a phenomenal word of spreading the word of what we've been doing. But please, everybody, go and share what we've been doing on the Instagram, on the Facebook. Take a picture, go and share it. Tag in Boostly UK, tag in Mark Simpson so I can see it. That'd be amazing, because tomorrow, oh my gosh, tomorrow we've got Mike Michalowicz. We've got James Sinclair. We've got the phenomenon, which is Craig Webb, because the thing that I asked about before all of this, and yes, maybe the beer is talking, I said, what topic do you want to know most about? And SEO was by far what everybody wanted to know about. So we've got Mr. Craig Webb, and I've got another secret session for you tomorrow. And this is the guy that Airbnb do not want you to know about by far. And I know tomorrow is going to be hard for a lot of people, because tomorrow is the start of the Easter weekend for those of you who celebrate it. Tomorrow is Good Friday. And so there's a lot of you maybe traveling to family, etc. But if you can tune in, please do come and join me live, so I'm not the only one here. It's going to be an unbelievable one. All right, with that being said, let's try this. I'm going to hit a button. I'm going to see if we can play this live. Let's welcome Mr. Sean Rakijis, Mr. Airbnb Automated. Let's go.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Book Direct Virtual Summit. My name is Sean Rakijich. Today, I'm going to be teaching you revenue management from my new book, The Revenue Manager's Handbook. And I've got something special for you all, because this is about direct bookings. Normally, revenue management is something we talk about channel to channel. There's an Airbnb strategy, there's a Vrbo strategy. We're going to include direct bookings into this talk today. I'm very excited to give it to you. So let's cut right in and let me teach you revenue management from my new book. Those of you who may not know me, I've been teaching Airbnb and short-term rentals for a great while now. And I've been coaching since 2018. Since 2018, I have had over 2,300 hours of one-on-one coaching with Airbnb hosts. So everything I'm teaching you today is going to be from the field experience that I've had with people who've had problems booking their properties up. So I'm one of the most experienced coaches in the world, and if you want more of my content, you can just type Airbnb into YouTube and look for the beard. And as we know, Mark would tell you, he wants us to stop calling them Airbnb properties, and maybe by the end of the summit, you'll be doing exactly that. So let's begin with the lesson. Bill has 30 apples, but he gives 3 apples to Mike. Are you starting to catch how this lesson is going to go? He gives 4 apples to Chris. How many does he have left? But we're going to give away more apples now. I hope you're keeping track. He gives 8 more apples to Vrbo, and he gives 4 apples to Booking.com. Now, someone on Airbnb wants 14 apples. Question is, can he sell those 14 apples? The answer, of course, is no sale. He only had 11, and Airbnb will not accept it unless you have all available. Your calendar, this is an Airbnb calendar, but stay with me, guys. Your multi-channel probably looks something similar, is very much like this story. You have apples that are available for sale, but some of those apples are worth more at certain times. Some aren't even worth anything anymore because the dates have passed. So what I'm going to try to teach you all to do today is how to sell all of your apples. Hope you're ready. So terms and definitions. There are going to be a couple that you know and probably plenty that you don't. I want to catch all of you up. So let's start at the very beginning. Supply and demand is, in this case, supply is the number of apples that you have. Demand is the number of people wanting your apples, total volume of apples that people want to buy. The more people who want to buy apples, the more you can charge for your apples. But that's inverse also. The more apples there are on the market and the less people that want to buy them, the average price for an apple sold will go down. I'll say that again. The more apples on the market and the less people that want to buy them, the overall average price of an apple sold will go down. So that means there are still plenty of apples that are high priced on the market, but the people who recognize that there's too many apples to be sold, they will drop their prices to make sure they're one of the apples sold, and thus the average price per apple will go down. Dynamic price is this concept, chasing the market. We can raise prices for some days and we can drop prices for some days depending on what days are in high demand. And this is a day per day thing. One Saturday could be worth a ton of money. The next Saturday could be worth less. You might have Tuesdays that always have to get sold at a discount, but then sometimes you've got a good Tuesday, you can hold your prices. Dynamic pricing is responding to these external market forces to make sure that you charge as much as you can when you can, and that you drop prices when you have to. Adjacency is fun. When we look at your calendar, you're going to see that you have bookings where people check out. Any date available next to a check-in or check-out, next to a reservation, is an adjacency. This is like an orphan day, except you don't have to have dates in between two bookings. An adjacency is a date next to any booking, and the calendar could be completely open on one side, where somebody checks out on the 12th is available, that's the adjacent date, and then everything thereafter is clear and open. An adjacent date is still harder to find in the calendar because the only way an adjacent date can get booked is if somebody checks in for that exact date. This makes it a hard searchable date. Thus, we tend to have to lower our prices on adjacent days. Contribution margin is the concept that we have to follow in this industry, much like airlines or events. Movie tickets, for example, could be the same way, where the cost to provide a product tends to stay the same. If you fly a plane, it's going to use the same amount of gas, the pilot still has to get paid, stuff like that. Every seat that gets sold in that plane does not increase the cost to fly the plane. This means that all the dollars per ticket are contributed initially to the cost of gas and the pilot, and then at one point all of the tickets sold for these seats then is pure profit. And short-term rentals is a lot like this. You might have a rent, you might have a mortgage, you might have other fixed costs like insurances, and all of those are that bottom price where the first 4, 5, 7 days of your calendar, they contribute 100% of that money towards those hard costs, and then after that, all of your money is profit. The only difference in our industry is that you have a cleaning fee, and you might have consumable supplies like soap. So you might pay $100 per reservation for cleaning, but aside from that $100 incremental cost, most of your other costs are fixed, much like flying a plane. Thus, the majority of how you price your listings should be based on a contribution margin approach. This means the best practice is charge whatever you can get for a date, above and beyond your cleaning fee. So if your cleaning fee is $100, you absolutely have to collect $100. But if one day will not get booked unless you charge $50, this normally means you'll have to go down to the $50 plus the $100 cleaning fee. Lead time is the number of days that you have before that day arrives or before that day is no longer able to be sold. Yesterday is a -1 day lead time. Today is 0 days of lead time. If you're not booked yet today, you've just got a few hours left. Tomorrow is 1 day of lead time. A month from now is 28 or 30 days of lead time. The way that this helps us price our listings is typically the more days we have to get booked, the more time we can afford to charge more money for our place. Normally, in low demand markets, we want to price further out. We want to drop our prices because we won't have as many views per day, so the lead time is more important. But in high demand markets where everything gets booked up, if there's no supply left, you might be able to hold your price really, really high until maybe 5 or 7 days out. So the lead time is one part of a greater equation. How many listings are available? How many days do I have to get booked? And how many views do I expect my listing or my property to get over the course of those days of lead time? So if you take all three of those, number of days to get listed or number of days to get booked times the number of views per day divided by the number of relevant competitors, you should be able to accurately assess what your conversion percentage would be. I hope you know what that is because I don't think it's in these slides. Pace helps us track the amount of demand day by day. Remember how I told you that some Saturdays you'll charge a ton of money and then other Saturdays you'll charge a little less? A lot of times people's Tuesdays go unbooked unless they drop the prices a lot. Well, if you had, say, 50 listings in the same city, you might notice that, for example, we're about to have the eclipse here in Texas, the April 7th and 8th, and everything is booked for that weekend. But the weekend following, not so much. The pace for that weekend of April 7th and 8th is astronomically high. It's like 800 or 1,000% more than normal. And if you ever see a phenomenon like this happening, pace is how you track it, you would raise your prices to meet the fact that this is artificial demand. If you notice that you have no bookings a certain day of the week, that means your pace is really low. So this is normally something that you would have to have a lot of listings for in order to track pace. If you watch my full video on the speech I did at STR Wealth Conference, which I had a little over an hour that I was able to talk on this, I talk about a technique that I can't show you on the slide deck that you could use to track your competitors. So go to my YouTube channel and catch the rest of the speech if you're interested in how to track pace if you only have 1 or 2 listings. There's more terms and definitions, but these start to get a little bit more complex. And some of these are custom to me, by the way. A red line day or a 0 day is your artificial last day to get booked. And what I mean by that is today technically is your last day to get booked, usually. But some listings, that's a really, really bad idea. Some of you might be in urban markets where a last minute booking just is always a party. It's always a high risk. Some of you might have an island destination where it's just impossible to get booked because everybody who's getting flights in normally has their accommodations booked along with their flight. And no one's flying to Bermuda today, right? So there are some times that your red line or your 0 day has to be into the future because of logistics or because of risk. This means that your whole pricing strategy has to be built around getting 100% occupied by a certain day. That's not today. It might have to be 5, 7, 10 days into the future, depending on your market. A golden window is a range of dates that you typically tend to get booked that you find to be the very best prices that you can get. So for example, depending on your channel, right, your direct bookings or Vrbo or Airbnb, Booking.com, Marriott Homes and Villas, all of these different channels, you'll find that the best paying Vrbo bookings might be 5 months or 7 months in advance. Your best paid direct bookings might be something similar. Your best paid Airbnb bookings might be 1 month or 2 months in advance. Your best paid Booking.com bookings might be 5 or 7 days into the future, something like that. Or you might find that you get the best traction on Booking.com through Priceline, which is at a discount, but you still seem to get the best results, even at a discount. Your golden window can be per channel. You're going to find that certain dates make the most money on certain platforms. And of course, one of your goals is to make the most money with direct bookings. And there's an imbalance here that we all need to be aware of. Vrbo might make the most money 7 months in advance, but then they take 18% of that. So if you had a direct booking campaign where people could find your website or you're running ads, and your average cost to get a booking through an ad campaign might be 5% of your average nightly rate, well, if you consider your ad spend as similar to a service fee on, like for Vrbo, and you got the same amount of money from Vrbo or your direct booking campaign, paying 5% for ads is a better deal than paying 18% for Vrbo. You also would adjust, like say, insurances and stuff like that. You might have a separate insurance policy for direct bookings because maybe you're only on Airbnb and you use Airbnb's AirCover. So if your ad spend and your insurance is cheaper than Airbnb's service fee, then at that point, you still net more of a positive because the total amount that the customer pays could be identical, but there's less fat in the middle for a channel. And that's probably one of the biggest things about revenue management that I think we can talk about in a direct booking summit is the customer is going to pay what the customer is going to pay. A golden window will tell you when the best times for a customer to pay per channel are, but any one of those customers that you would find on Airbnb could also book direct if you found them the right way. So finding per channel what makes the most money, you can then also maybe find what customer archetype makes the most money per window of time. So 6 months or 8 months from now, if whoever books on Vrbo, you can ask yourself, what type of customers tend to book on Vrbo? Where can I find them 6 months from now and get them to my direct booking site? Airbnb maybe makes the most money 2 or 3 months in advance, but you can then ask, what kind of customers are booking 2 months or 3 months in advance? You might find that one is families and one is business travel, which means that 6 or 8 months from now, if you're making the best money with families, your marketing campaign should be targeting families. For dates available 2 months from now, if your best paying customer is business, you then start marketing for business to maximize what could be an ever modifying golden window. I guess I'm telling you to ride along your marketing campaign to follow wherever your best cost bookings are coming from and find out who that archetype is per channel. Your hit rate, let's get this back to basic data here. Your hit rate is what percentage of the time you win on whatever prices you choose. So I'm going to show you something called zones. And a golden window is technically a zone. It's a range of dates. So for Vrbo, in the case that we were talking about, 7 months, 9 months in advance, you may have a zone that is 6 months in advance into infinite future, right? Everything more than 6 months in advance. That's zone 1. From 6 months in advance all the way down to, say, 3 months in advance, that might be zone 2 for you. Zone 3 might be 3 months to 45 days, and that might be your Airbnb golden window. Zone 4 could be 45 days out to 25 days out. That's zone 4. That starts to get really last minute. You're in the damage control zone. Zone 5, 25 days to 0 days, or if you have what we call the red line, 25 days to 10 days, because you don't want any bookings 10 days out or less. That final 15 stretch is where you do absolutely everything in your power to get bookings at any price. As long as you cover your cleaning fee, you're pretty much taking any price. That's zone 5. These are zones. And the pricing that you choose per zone will either work or it doesn't. And you should keep track of this. Find out if you're getting any bookings 6 months into the future or later. And find out at what prices those are. Find out if you're getting any action between 3 months and 6 months, for example, or for a month and a half to 3 months out. Your zones are actually going to look a little bit different depending on property type, if you're urban, if you're a destination. We're going to cover that. But hit rate allows you to document what percentage of the time a certain price is meeting the market within a range of dates. A risk-adjusted rack rate is an adjustment to what we consider to be the lowest price we're going to go. When I gave you that example of like zone 5 from 25 days out to 10 days out, or maybe even to today, your hyper last minute dates, in a vacuum, you would charge whatever you could to get bookings, as long as you covered your cleaning fee. But some markets cannot stomach that risk. For example, when I was in Philadelphia, there was no way for me to charge less than $100 a night without having parties. So we could, at no point in time, in our zone 5, which was inside of 20 days, we could never go under $100, ever. We could go under $100 in a different zone that wasn't a high risk zone, but anything remotely last minute under $100 led to parties, and we had to avoid that. So the risk-adjusted rack rate is the lowest price you're willing to go, adjusted for the risk. And in this case, it could be parties, or it could be locals, it could be theft, anything that you really find to be not worth it. You may have a hyper luxury property, and a low enough priced booking doesn't offset the risk that somebody could do damage, like irreplaceable damage to the art or the walls or something that would actually have to give you downtime, and that could be another example of your risk. The lowest documented attempt is the inverse of the hit rate, if you remember. The hit rate is what percentage of time we got booked at a certain price. So let's use the example of $500 per night. 6 months into the future and forever from now, we have a $500 nightly rate. If 20% of your calendar got booked in zone 1 for $500, great, congratulations, right? But anything that passes through to zone 2, which would be inside of 6 months, would still be $500 most likely. So your lowest documented attempt is $500. In zone 4, let's say you have that $500 price point and you start, or zone 2 coming inside of 6 months, your listings were $500 a night, but you start to drop your prices. Between 6 months and 3 months, you drop down to $380. And you get a good amount of bookings between $380 and $500, but from zone 2 to zone 3, which is the 3-month mark, you still have a $380 price point. That's your final price in zone 2. So your lowest documented attempt for zone 2 is $380. And we go into zone 3, you drop your prices maybe down to $250 or $200. Any dates that make it into zone 4, your lowest documented attempt would be $250. This is an example of how we use lowest documented attempt. We want to know what is the lowest price that we've tried to collect for a certain range of time that has failed. And you can do this for weekdays and you can do this for weekends. I highly recommend that you differentiate the two, because you're going to have a lot of weekdays that squeak through into zones 3, 4, or 5 potentially, but all of your weekends might get booked inside of zone 1, 2, 3, and 4 max, and you never have any weekends left in zone 5. And knowing what price gets completely booked at any moment in time is a really cool thing to know. So let's say that you dropped your prices to $100 a night forever. Just every single day was $100 a night. Your hit rate would probably show that between zone 1, 2, and 3, you get 100% booked and you have nothing left by the time you get to zone 4, because $100 was just too cheap. So we're trying to balance a percentage of bookings in every zone with the highest price that we can achieve, so we're keeping track of our prices per zone, our hit rate per zone, and our lowest documented attempt per zone. I'm going to show you how to diagnose this here in a second as well. This is an example of one zone map. Let's call it a zone map. This is 6 months of the calendar. That green arrow, let's just say that's today. The day or month of the year doesn't really matter. We're looking at that day, and then we're using the calendar to count how many days into the future. So 2 months into the future would be, or 2 calendar months into the future would be 60 days, which is in this blue zone. That's your zone 1. This type of zone is generally what a studio or 1 bedroom would look like in the city. You notice the red zone right next to my green arrow, that's zone 5. That is 3 days into the future. That's highly last minute. Where a zone strategy for a house or somewhere that's more rural would look like this. You notice that the last zone next to the green arrow is black, because our red line is 10 days into the future. So our zone 5 is everything that's 10 days to 17 days into the future. Our zone 1 actually ends 4 months into the future, and then zone 2 picks up about 3 months in. Zone 3 here is green. And this could be an example of what we've marked our golden window. We've made this one green because we think that's our highest priced zone for Airbnb. This one here, zone 2 is green for studios. See the difference is we've color coded zone 2 in this map because we think this is where the highest price bookings for Airbnb comes for a studio, but zone 3 is where we think the highest price bookings come for Airbnb on this map. You guys can make something like this for direct bookings. There are paper calendars that you can put on a desk that show the next 6 months of the year or a full year calendar. Use that paper calendar and post-it notes, and every time that you get a booking, write under the post-it note how many days of lead time there was and what the average nightly rate was and how many total days and the check-in day, and then post that post-it note onto that calendar. Over the course of 30 or 50 bookings, you're going to have this whole mess of post-it notes that'll show you a distribution of when most of your bookings come, like how far in advance somebody's booking. It'll also show you what the average nightly rate is. You will notice that your best nightly rates will come in a certain range of dates in the future. You'll also notice that you're not getting any bookings 30 days in the future or longer, meaning whatever prices that you have for that section need to start getting lowered. When you use post-it notes on a 6-month map like this, on a 6-month calendar, and you have post-it notes all over the calendar, you'll start to see that there's dry spots or empty spots. And a lot of times we find that this blue area gets no bookings, or we find that this black and red area get no bookings. So for example, diagnosing your zones. Zone 1 heavy, which is the blue zone, the zone that can be 4 months into the future, this usually happens because people have low flat prices. Their weekends and weekdays are often the same in price. They don't ever change their prices much, but their prices are generally low. They tend to even get booked in slow season because their prices just are lower than their competitors. This is something that was really common when Airbnb first started, when this industry was new. People would have low flat rates, and then they would just take whatever bookings they could get. They didn't think that they could raise their prices for demand, so they just picked a price that would always get booked, and people would always get a good deal. Because of this, Zone 1 would constantly get booked because the prices were just too good and everybody gobbled it up. So Zone 1 and Zone 2 would get most of the bookings. By the time we got to Zone 3, 4, or 5, there was just no availability left. A Zone 3 heavy calendar tends to be more balanced. Nobody's booking too far in the future, nobody's booking last minute, and both of these are actually still problems, but that calendar tends to have more of a healthy flat price. The weekends are raised, so the weekends aren't some really, really cheap rate, and the weekdays aren't overly discounted either, thus they're not getting a bunch of bookings in Zone 1. This person is getting more bookings in their golden window because their prices were too high for Zone 1, but they're priced right for their golden window. What'll happen though is they'll get completely booked in peak season and average season, and they'll tend to go unbooked in slow season, except for some weekends. These people are still not really adjusting their prices at all, and they're getting poor last minute booking performance because they don't think that they should fill the rest of their calendar by dropping the prices. Zone 5 heavy bookings tend to come from people who get too busy and have heard that you need to overcharge, you need to raise your rates, and they've done that, but they don't actually manage their calendar effectively. They're not looking any further than 21 days into the future. They're only looking at their availability for the next 2 weeks, and they are dropping their prices very, very last minute. This is somebody who's learned the art of dynamic pricing, who knows that if you drop your prices, you're going to get booked, and they've got their prices really high in the future, hoping to get really good priced bookings, but then they make no adjustments depending on how that's performing, and they're only fixing their calendar 2 or 3 weeks in advance. And this tends to happen because if you look at the Airbnb multi-calendar or any other multi-calendar for Channel Manager, it tends to show you only the next 14 to 21 days into the future. And if somebody's doing their prices from the load page of their multi-calendar, they're not scrolling to the right to see how empty that future calendar may look. So this may be you. You may be the Zone 3 person who's not really balancing their prices much. You might be this person who doesn't get really much into the future and you do a good job of scrapping for last minute bookings. This is really, really common. Rule sets are something that we can only do on Airbnb, so we're actually going to have to skip that section because it's not the most important thing for you. But here are some ground rules for you guys. You want to be the first booked in slow season. You want to be the last booked in peak season. And what I mean by that is, in slow season, everyone has a pricing strategy usually for the rest of the year. And they go into slow season priced too high. By the time that happens and people start dropping their prices, there's not a lot of time left to get booked and there's too much supply in the market. So if you don't want to be the person unbooked in slow season, you should drop your prices before anybody wakes up to the fact that there's not going to be enough customers. If you know when your slow season is, you want to put those dates on sale before anyone else. And you want to really actually put them on sale. You want to be attractive and you want to get booked. You want to clear your calendar before anyone else does. But peak season, if you're the part of the world that gets completely booked in peak season and there's no inventory left because everybody's coming to you, this is a great thing to be. And you can raise your prices more than your competitors and not get any bookings and continue to hold your prices until very last minute. And what'll happen is there'll be a couple other hotels that are really nasty, but there'll be nothing left. And commonly, people will be forced to pay your price. You do need to manage your pace, like we talked about, to know if you're actually having a weaker peak season than normal, because at one point you might still need to drop your prices to get booked, but in peak season you more often can hold a really strong price, be the last person booked, and make a king's ransom. Never price for one customer. This is something that I think we can dive into a little bit more, actually, since we're talking about direct bookings. You will find that your Airbnb customers are one type of customer, typically. That might change for last minute and far out, right? You might notice that Airbnb gives you a very specific last minute customer. They give you a very specific customer that books a month or two in advance. You'll notice that Vrbo gives you a very specific type of customer. You'll notice that your direct booking customers hopefully are a lot of return customers, referrals, people who find you on Google Maps, stuff like that. And you're going to notice that there are trends with every type of customer per channel. So your pricing strategy should diversify per channel or per customer who's booking. Like we said before, the golden window for a workforce person might be more last minute. They get a last minute assignment, they're showing up at your place for a couple of weeks, and they book just 3 or 4 days in advance, potentially. The traveling family that's got 4 or 5 kids and they need to get everything in order, they might book 2, 3, or 4 months in advance. So the way that we book for lengths of stay and the way that we book per channel can adjust to capture the best customers. Now, if you watch this full video on YouTube, I go into depth about, on Airbnb specifically, having length of stay discounts to incentivize certain types of customers. Airbnb specifically lets you do 2-day and 3-day discounts. So that gave me a really clean example of how to do 2-day stay, 3-day stay discounts, and then like do week-long stays. In your case, your channel manager probably doesn't allow for 3 or 4-day discounts, but it does allow you for weekly discounts. It allows you to set custom monthly rates. And if you want to be fun and you want to take advantage of this type of modularity in your market, let's say you do a lot of direct bookings from Google search, you would want to consider advertising a discount for a 3 or 4-day or maybe even a 5-day stay that could be baked into your direct booking software. So if somebody's booking a 5-day stay, all of the weekdays in a 5-day stay could get like an extra discount. You might be able to logic that into your own custom website. That would be something that I would recommend you do. This is an example of pricing for different types of customers because if we go and give you specific examples of archetypes, you could have a customer that'll pay $300 per night for Friday and Saturday. And that's how you get Friday, Saturday booked. But then Monday through Friday or Sunday through Thursday doesn't get booked at all. And now you have to find a way to get Sunday through Thursday booked, usually leading you to doing discounts. At the end of the week, you might only have gotten 2 of those weekdays booked at $110 each, so you're at $820 for the week. But you'll find there might be someone who stays Wednesday through Sunday, and they'd be willing to pay $950 for those 5 days. You still have 2 days left to get booked, and if you drop those down to say $75 a night and got those booked, then that would be an extra $150. That 5-day customer that booked through the weekend and then the last 2 weekdays would have made you $1,100 flat, I believe, as opposed to the other example where you made like $900 or $820. You could find that somebody's willing to stay all week, but they might only say pay $975 or $1,000. So your best combination of bookings was the 5-day plus the 2 weekdays. You can create pricing rule sets in Airbnb to pull that off. But you can also find that you get the best customer that pays for most of the week through a certain channel at a certain window of time. So if I was going to give you advice, if I was going to conceptualize this advice to be more simple, you can look at every channel that you have available and find out who the best paying customers are all throughout the year and really prioritize your effort into getting bookings from the channels that you like the most, the times of the year that you like. And again, a lot of these channels charge 18% commission to get bookings. So if you find that Booking.com or Vrbo or Marriott Homes and Villas give you the best customer types at a certain lead time window, you're going to want to ask yourself, how can I capture these exact customers directly? For the same price that they're willing to pay Vrbo, can I get them onto my website and keep that 18%? Because then that 18% that you're saving on service fees can all go towards customer recapture, ad campaigns and marketing budget. It's money that you get to put back in your pocket. This book isn't out yet, by the way. It comes out in July. And so this book is level 2 on my 5 levels of content. A lot of you have seen my free content. That's level 1. I have a bunch of mini webinars on the algorithm, on pricing strategy. This book is pricing strategy, on all sorts of different stuff. Market research as well. That's all level 2. A lot of my group coaching courses are level 3. I do have some really high level webinars on how to sue Airbnb, for example, and stuff like that. That's level 4. And then I have a mastermind, which is for operators that make more than $1 million a year. I have a mastermind, but the requirement is that you are making 7 figures a year to join that. Those are my 5 levels of content. When you read this book in the future, and I hope you do read it, that'll be level 2. You can go to rockygeach.com, which is basically my last name, and you can find a link to pre-register for the sale for this book. And if you want to see more of my content, you just type Airbnb in the YouTube and search for The Beard. One day, if Mark Simpson is correct, we won't be calling them Airbnb properties anymore, and I might have to change my online marketing strategy. So guys, thank you so much for going through those slides with me. I hope they're valuable. And I do want to circle back to the concept of your ideal customer. I think that's the main thing I want you to be aware of. If you do buy a calendar, like I said, the one that goes on the desk that has January, February, March, April, May, June, maybe even has all 12, and you buy colored Post-it notes, and you just, every time you get a booking, you can even write the channel at the top, the number of dates, the average length of stay, or the average nightly price for the length of stay, and how many days in the future they booked, and then go put that Post-it note 45 days out, and then put the Post-it note 10 days out. So 10 days out on this 12-month calendar would be January 10th. 45 days out would be like February 15th, for example, and you'd put those Post-it notes everywhere. At the end of, say, 50 or 100 reservations, you could even go back and do this. You can go to the transaction history for all of your bookings and go and scribe these out. And you can go back over 100 reservations, post these out. You will find holes in your booking strategy where you're not getting any bookings from 45 days to 70 days out or something like that. You'll also find, if you color code these Post-it notes to be per channel too, you'll notice heat maps. Like a bunch of blue Post-it notes are in the 10-day to 20-day range, and that's Airbnb. A bunch of Post-it notes that are pink are from like 60 days to 90 days, and that's like your direct bookings. And then orange could be Vrbo, and they're all 4 months out. Color coding them can let you know where your customers are coming from and how far in advance they like to book. The most important thing that you can do, and Mark talks about this plenty, is understanding who your customer is, why they're going to book with you, and when they could. And if you can start to build a little map of who pays the most money, what period in advance, and what it is that they want, you can then start to build your marketing campaigns to find them. And the goal is to spend less on marketing than you would spend on the channel that they would normally book on. And at that point, you've had a net increase of revenue. So congratulations. If you have any questions for me, you can find me on Instagram, Airbnb Automated. Just send me a DM, because I know that this could be a little abstract. I teach a lot on how to do Airbnb pricing strategy, and we all use Airbnb, but there are definitely ways for you to apply all of these pricing best practices into your direct booking website. And all of you have absolutely unique situations for this, so that's the part that I can't really just make a slide deck for. So if you want to talk about your listing specifically, reach out to me and I'll see how we can help you. Thank you so much for giving me your time. And Mark, thank you so much. I'm going to hand the mic back to you. Take care.
It would help if I turned the microphone on. Let's do this. I've had that beer. All right, I'm back. Hey, I just want to say it is amazing how all of this is free. It's crazy. And I really do hope that you are taking it on board. I really hope that you are enjoying this. Do me a favor, just tap that love heart emoji button as many times as possible. Thank Sean in the comments. Sean's last name, this is the question. And so many people always get this wrong, the spellings and all of that. And hey, I get it wrong a lot, but this is how to write it down. Rakidzich. But like you said, go type in Airbnb on YouTube, look for the beard, and you've got the man. Now, that was unbelievable. That was so good. Again, you've just had a revenue management 101 masterclass there, and he's so talented. And again, a lot of you already know who he is, and I did a little teaser of who he were. And he did not disappoint with that. And you could tell he was ill. He was poorly while doing it. Another one, Laura and Sean, ill while recording, but they just got it done. I think it's just like a core of hospitality. So, all right, day four. What's your takeaways? How are you feeling? We have had well over 100 people consistently stay with us throughout the course of the evening. That is 2.5 hours. And bearing in mind, I stupidly put this on during spring break and Easter holidays. So again, just to have this many people with us is absolutely amazing. I'm already thinking about a date to do it in June. And if you'd like me to do this again in June, put #June. I've already got a written down today, a little draft of who I would like to invite to do this. I want to try and mix up the speakers. I want to try and mix it up so you get fresh content, which is always good. But we go in. Last day tomorrow. Tomorrow we have got Mr. Mike McAlleritz. We have got James Sinclair. We've got Craig Webb and a very special secret spot session from the guy that Airbnb don't want you to know about 100%. All right, before we finish this out, I just want to give everybody the opportunity. If you haven't already booked a call with the Boostly team about direct bookings, Sean talked about it a lot, Laura talked about it a lot. If you haven't booked with our team, then please go ahead and do so as soon as possible. I've just opened slots up for next week. You go to boostly.co.uk. So let me just show you where to go. Now, the reason why you may want to do this is that we are on a mission to help every host get to 65% direct bookings. We have a core 4 product. So one of them is websites. We do website design. Museescapes.com, as Laura mentioned earlier, we did their website as well as 2,500 other websites. We also do training, which is very cool. So we've got Liam Carolan, who does a lot of our coaching and masterminds, and we have now got some more customer success managers, which is phenomenal, and we do monthly sessions and all that good stuff. And we are also now looking to do weekly open hours. So basically a handhold approach in this world that we call marketing. But also as well, we've now got an email marketing software tool that we give you, social media tool, CRMs, and all that other good stuff as well. And the final thing is what we do is we have community. So you get tapped into the community of Team Boostly members. And I know that we have got a lot of Team Boostly members here. If you are part of Team Boostly, just leave me a hashtag Team Boostly. So come to the website, click on book a call, just pop in how many properties that you currently have, and you can go ahead and book a slot. We've got 3 slots available tomorrow, and we've just opened up the calendar for next week. So we would love to speak to you if you would like to speak to us, if you've never had that chat before. Boostly.co.uk. Now, before we go, I just wanted to share this. This is a little win that was put up in the community today. And again, these are the sort of posts that I love. So Nicole, who's based in Cancun, said, "Hey y'all, wanted to let you know of a win that I had. I'd learned this in the academy, which is the Boostly Academy, to look for business travelers. There is a convention center within a 5-minute walk from our condos in Cancun. So I reached out to the accommodations manager of one of the conferences and had a Zoom call with her. She added me to her website. I didn't think it would work. So far, 9 leads and 1 conversion. They are looking for 7 nights per condo, and we have 4 condos, already have 5 nights booking, and hopefully for more. Just started the program and excited for more training. I just thought I would share." Now that is one of these. Absolutely love seeing them come in, and it's just one of many messages that we get on a daily basis. So if you are looking to build a business on your own ground, as Laura said, if you are looking to do this on your terms, if you are looking to grow, and if you want to stop giving so much profits away to the OTAs, seeing this is the Book Direct Virtual Summit, then please do come and book a call in. And I'll leave you tonight with not just Nicole's words, not just Laura's words from speaking from earlier, but other Boostly Academy members and what they get from being part of it. But I will end after this. So I just want to say we'll be back tomorrow, 6 p.m. For the final night. Thank you to Wendy for the beer. It's been drank now. Thank you to everybody who's tuned in and for all the kind and lovely words that you have given us over the course of this week. And I'm excited to wrap it all up tomorrow. Be back at 6.
Hi there, my name's Shirley Graham. I have a cave house in Andalusia in Spain. Thank you very much, Mark, much appreciated. We've got 3 direct bookings, which we probably would never have got through the exposure of that. We've got over 100 new likes on Facebook. The engagement they got was unbelievable. And thanks everybody, it was great. Thank you.
Hi, I just wanted to share a few of my own thoughts about the Boostly Academy. The Academy has lots of like-minded people, entrepreneurs, business people, and they're all here to help each other. It's a lovely little community, and I can't see any reason why, if it was your own business, you wouldn't join. It's been great fun for me. I suppose hospitality has big problems, and that's in marketing, it's in HR and everything else. But the Boostly Academy provides lots of small solutions that you can do piecemeal, one at a time, work through it in your own time, and it provides the answers.
We want to thank you and to Boostly team for the support you have given us in building our new website. it's already online and I love it. Therefore, it will also improve our small business.
Having followed all his steps, the interest in my Facebook page has soared. It's been extraordinary. We've had almost 300 new likes to the page, masses of comments, a huge reach globally.
I've learned loads about social media, about how to get a better reach. Probably had about 8,500 reach, about 200, 300 comments, and I've also had, I think, at least 100 additional page likes.
I've been really grateful just to take things to a next level over this last 10-day challenge, and having the support, provocation and inspiration of a like-minded group of people at various stages of development, and just really give our whole marketing a boost.
I came across Mark Simpson. I was a little sceptical at first, but after about a week of watching what he was doing and seeing the results he was getting, it all started to make sense and click into place. I was a bit of an ostrich and didn't have a lot of confidence, and I kept backing away and putting my head in the sand. That is all now a thing of the past. I have learnt so much, becoming more technically confident, running competitions, taking direct bookings and dealing with my business myself and not allowing the OTAs to take charge.
I have been with other coaching companies in the past, which have cost me an absolute fortune, and yes, I did learn things. Then I came across Mark and his lovely hospitality community, and I thought, yeah, this is going to work for me. So I took the plunge. Even though I hadn't got any spare cash, I thought I'd give it a go. And within doing my first couple of emails with Mark, bookings started to come in. I like the way he works. He's very down to earth. You can call him anytime and you get a proper answer off him. So if you haven't taken the plunge yet, do so now. Honestly, it's well worth it, and so cheap as well. Mark, you do a great job, and I'm really glad that I've joined.
Joining the Boostly Academy has meant I can stay in control of my business and not having to rely on OTAs.
Join the Academy.
Go on, you know you want to.
Heads on beds.
Hello, I am Chris Turner, and this is a freestyle rap about why if you are in the hospitality industry and your website is not generating bookings, you need to go to boostly.co.uk. Let's drop a beat. Let's tell you why. I make it up, no script being said. I'm saying gonna get more heads on beds. Yeah, turn up the gas, getting it cooking, because you're gonna turn the lookers into the bookings. You don't need Airbnb, they will go direct, because currently they just step away. They're not staying on your website, and so you don't get the top cash, but that's alright. You can go to boostly.co.uk, money back guarantee, and the clickers will stay, because they're the market leader in web design for the hospitality industry. My mind to yours, and let me say, I hope you're enthralled. I make it all up. Go and book a little call, and you'll be happy that you did. You'll be like, this is amazing. Thank you, Chris. Talking about myself in the third person there, yeah.